Yeah,
It's on?
it's streaming. You're good.
Okay. So we've had some interesting last minute changes, not in anything that matters to any of you in this room because you're in this room. But for people that are streaming, we found out we didn't have enough subscribers to our YouTube channel to be able to stream live, which is really mean and it hurt my feelings. But so we are now live streaming on Facebook, but we are also recording it so that we will still put it up on the YouTube channel. That's important because that gives you the permanent access to the content. Live streaming on Facebook has a lot of rules and they cut things out. So, and then take it all away after 30 days. So, this is the timer. The candidates were given the questions last week, and they also know how much time they're going to have, but we have a timekeeper here that's going to help us with that. And if they are still talking when they're not supposed to be talking anymore, I'm going to hit this buzzer, which I don't want to do because it's obnoxiously loud. Don't make me hit the buzzer. We are going to also go through the rules that we had for the candidates that they were given information about, and then also our rules for you as our lovely voters and participants. Thank you, Barry. You can move that. You might just want to take it out. But we're going to start first with the Pledge of Allegiance and our college. You should have gotten a little piece of paper when you came in. Candidates, it's this thing here, yellow on the stage. We're going to use this flag here behind me and get started with that. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty, indivisible, with justice for all.
And then stay standing for our collect, please. You guys have one. Sure. Keep us, O God, from pettiness. Let us be large in thought, in word, in deed. Let us be done with fault-finding and leave off self-seeking. May we put away all pretense and meet each other face to face, without self-pity and without prejudice. May we never be hasty in judgment and always generous. Let us take time for all things. Make us to grow calm, serene, gentle. Teach us to put into action our better impulses, straightforward and unafraid. Grant that we may realize it is the little things that create differences, that in the big things of life we are at one. And may we strive to touch and to know the great common human heart of us all. And O Lord God, let us forget not to be kind. Thank you so much. You may be seated. That poem has been recited at women's clubs meetings for over 100 years. Women's federations were started before women had the right to vote, and it was a way for them to have a voice in their community and their government. And so they did things like start most of the libraries in this country, as well as also a lot of the park systems. So if you don't know, the Everglades Parks was actually started by the Florida Federation of Women's Clubs, which Brooksville was a part of. So lots of history in women's involvement. They also had what I think locally was a really funny campaign. They were annoyed with the business owners who were not keeping their businesses clean on the outside. And so they did a little campaign where they went out with brooms and did all around the businesses to make them still do in front of their storefront to kind of shame them into cleaning up their space. So, we've had different ways of making things happen over the years. But this particular club is 116 years old. We started in 1910. And then we moved into this building in the early 1930s. It was constructed by the woman who is commemorated on this pallet here. Her name was Lena Hawkins. She was the first female elected to Hernando County government in any capacity. She was the mayor of Brooksville in 1928. She was a very short lady. She wore heels, so that's why we have a heel on there. And she's also the one that was the architect for the clubhouse. So she designed and oversaw the construction of the space, which we have tried to keep intact since that point. We did just do a renovation of the kitchen, and you're going to go through the kitchen and behind here if you want to use the restrooms. There's 2 restrooms back there. Don't come through these double doors. You're going to end up in the middle of the forum, and you're not invited. Also, we have snacks and our coloring books and books for Brooksville available for sale in the kitchen if you want to go in there and get something to drink, or popcorn, which apparently a lot of you were asking for. So we have the popcorn for you as well. We are going to go over the rules, and I should say I'm Natalie Kaler. I'm the immediate past president of this club, and we're very honored to have you with us here tonight. So the candidates were given the rules in advance, so they know what they are. I'm going to ask the questions, which they know what they are, and I'm going to make sure that they stay on the question. So if I ask you something about what your favorite ice cream is, which is not a question, and you start telling me about your dad growing up in Kentucky picking oranges, you're forfeiting your time at that point. We want you to answer the questions that are presented to you. They are also limited to the ones that are presented by me. We did give the people an opportunity, the public was allowed to submit questions, and what we did is we looked at what the themes were and tried to group them into things that people wanted to hear about so that we could get all those done. So the questions are going to be limited to the ones that I ask and that the candidates have had time to think about and have thoughtful answers for. We are going to rotate the answers, so somebody isn't going to go first all the time or last all the time. And we'll tell you at the beginning how much time they have to answer each of the questions. Now, people did give a lot of kickback on this format and us giving the questions to the candidates in advance. And so, as the one who came up with that idea, I would like to explain why. This binder is actually left from when I served on city council. This was an average size meeting agenda for a city council meeting. So you get 300-400 pages on a Wednesday, Thursday, or if the city manager is doing a bad job, you get it on Friday for a Monday night meeting. So you're reading all of that information, getting your questions asked, calling people you need to call, talking to people in the public that have interest in those particular items, and then by Monday you come, you listen to the public again, and you're ready to vote. These are not positions where people have to make snap decisions. They're legislative positions, and so we want our legislators to be informed and to take the time to figure out the answers to things. So the reason that the format is this way is, in my opinion, this is how you actually do the job. You do the work in advance, and then you present your position from the dais. So that's why we're doing it that way. And if you want to do it a different way, you can have your own form. All right. One other carryover from my mayoral days, I did bring my actual so this is my gavel that I use, and I'll use it tonight. If we have bad language, nobody's going to say any naughty words from the dais. And also, if you can tell that this room is very acoustical, is that the right word? It's not acoustical. Okay, it's not good for loud noises. So we need to make sure that the candidates are able to be heard, and so we ask that you guys keep your participation to a level that we can still hear the people that are up here to present their information. Silence your phones. Thank you. This is why I picked you. All right. We are going to go ahead and get started. The questions, as I said, are very specific, but we allow them to open and close with whatever information they want to provide. So that way, if there's something that's really, really important to you and we aren't talking about it, you have the option to discuss that as part of your platform. So this first time, we're just going to go right down the row and start with Mr. Johnson. And you have 3 minutes to give your opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Mark Johnson. I'm married. I have 4 children. 2 are teachers and 8 grandchildren, 4 in public schools and 4 that have graduated from public schools. The graduation rate in Hernando County is now at 94%, up from 93.5% last year, the highest it's been in 20 years, if not longer. We removed diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI and critical race theory, CRT, from our schools and replaced it with meritocracy. I will not allow DEI or CRT back into our schools in any form. It doesn't have a place in our school system. We launched Truancy Court this past April for the first time in many, many years to hold parents responsible and accountable for their children's actions. Over the summer, Eastside Elementary is being converted to a K-8 with an Academy for Innovation and Leadership, saving taxpayers the cost of bonding a new school while increasing much needed capacity. This year, we were 150 students under the state forecast compared to Pasco, Hillsborough, and Pinellas, where thousands of students sought alternative education, leading to schools being closed. We don't have that problem. We're running out of room. In actions going forward, we need to evaluate and adjust the capital budget procedures to better prepare the district for the large population increases and shifts expected from development in the county. There's about 29,000 homes on the table slated to be built in this county in the next 10 years or so. We need to be prepared. The state figures on 0.3 students per living dwelling who will be enter the school system. That's about 8,700 students. That's 3 schools or 4 schools. And we don't have the capital to do that. We need to be prepared. We need to think outside the box. We need to think about more conversions and how to better service the students. Those kids on the east side were traveling an hour to an hour and a half daily to go to Parrott Middle School and to Hernando High School. Now at least the middle school students can stay on the east side of the county and gain some of that time back. We'll save a ton of money in fuel costs. We need to emphasize the basics of reading, math, science, history, and civics, prevent DEI and CRT from invading and further promote meritocracy and American ideal. There's only 2 sexes, there's boys and there's girls. We need to address the needs of students not college-bound and to offer more vocational courses. I helped to formulate the new electrical apprenticeship program at the Will Simpson Technical College, something I did in 2018, 19, and 20 before COVID started.
Thank you. He was trying to give you an example of what happened. Also, he said something really important that I want to reiterate and make sure that I share with the other candidates. It's really important that we don't use abbreviations, and so Mark did that in a great way. He said the word, and then he used the abbreviation afterwards. So that's really important because I want to make sure that everybody in here understands the words that are being used. And sometimes lingo can be used as a way to disenfranchise people. So thank you for setting a good example in that, and go on over.
Good evening, my name is Luciano Vignali. I'm running for Hernando County School Board District 3. I've grown up in Hernando County. I went to Hernando County Public School Systems. I also have 2 boys who graduated from Hernando County Public Schools. My background is in HR and operations. My platform is I'd like to put students first and respect and pay the teachers a competitive wage. I think that that's something that we need to do to be able to put students first. I'd also like to elevate the education offerings that we offer in Hernando County. So when I think of Hernando County Public Schools, I think that the biggest thing we have to worry about right now is paying competitive wage to teachers, supporting them, not allowing them to become overwhelmed. Because when we have teachers that are overwhelmed, they aren't focused on the students, which doesn't allow us to put the students first. I'd like to say that I think Hernando County Public Schools is a great place for students to become educated, and that we have a great offering for our education that we have here. But we need to be worried about replacing permanent teachers or certified teachers with permanent substitutes from Kelly's services, which right now we have a bunch of, and I think that that's just putting a Band-Aid on a problem that could later be an issue that I think we should deal with proactively as opposed to allowing it to continue. So, like I said, I'm a father of 2 boys in Hernando County that graduated from Hernando County Public Schools. I would love to earn your vote. If you have any questions after the form, please allow me to answer them. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you to the GFWC Brooksville Women's Club for hosting tonight's forum, and thank you to everyone who has taken the time to be here. My name is Dana Pierce, and I am running for District 1 of the Hernando County School Board because I believe our students deserve experienced leadership that understands our schools from the inside out. For more than 3 decades, I have dedicated my life to public education. I've served as a teacher, coach, assessment coordinator, assistant principal, and principal. For the past 14 years, I've had the privilege of serving as administration, with the last 7 years being principal at Springstead High School, where I've worked alongside outstanding teachers, staff, students, and families to build a culture centered on academic excellence, character, and opportunity. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together. We've expanded career and technical education, strengthened advanced placement and dual enrollment opportunities, increased graduation rates, developed student leadership through programs like our Athletic Leadership Council, and created an environment where students can succeed whether their path leads to college, the military, technical education, or directly into the workforce. As a school board member, I understand that my job would be different. The board's role is not to manage schools day to day. It is to set policy, ensure fiscal responsibility, hire and evaluate the superintendent, and make decisions that benefit every student in Hernando County. If elected, my priorities will be simple: support and retain outstanding teachers, ensure every tax dollar is spent wisely and transparently, keep students safe, expand opportunities for career and workforce in education alongside strong academic programs, and build trust between our schools, parents, and community. I also believe in listening. I don't pretend to have every answer, but I do know how to bring people together, study the facts, and make decisions based on what is best for students. Not about politics, not headlines, and not special interests. Hernando County has many outstanding schools and incredible educators. I want to use the experience I've gained over the last 30+ years to help every school continue moving forward. I would be honored to earn your vote, and I look forward to answering your questions this evening. Again, Dana Pierce, District 1, Hernando County School Board.
If I don't receive the same amount of claps, I'm going to be really upset. Hi, my name is Amanda Cunningham Rudd, and I'm running for Hernando County School Board District 5. First, I want you to know that my dedication to our schools did not start with this campaign. It started as a concerned parent who simply wanted to make a difference. Over the past several years, I've served our community as a school volunteer, school advisory council chairwoman, parent-teacher organization, PTO founder, substitute teacher, and now as a public school teacher entering my 5th year in the classroom. Most importantly, I'm a mom and wife of 22 years. I was blessed to step away from my career for a season to raise our son, which allowed me to view our schools from the perspective of an involved parent. Before becoming a mother and teacher, I spent years in government, serving as a legal analyst for Attorney General's office and directing communications for the State Treasurer's office. I also hold a master's degree in public management, giving me the experience to understand education, policy, and large government systems. What I bring to this race is the ability to see our schools through several lenses. As a mother, a teacher, an educated public policy professional, and a concerned parent, that perspective is unique, and it allows me to understand the challenges facing our schools from the inside out. When elected, I will no longer teach at any school. I will dedicate my professional time to Hernando schools as a full-time, active, and involved school board member. In addition to professional experience, a record of community service is an important point to consider when electing your next school board leader. Anyone can talk about what they will do. I have a record of actually rolling up my sleeves and stepping up. Some of my community involvement includes chairwoman of the Brooksville Parks and Recreation Department, volunteer executive board member for Brooksville Main Street nonprofit, volunteer member of the City Beautification Advisory Board for Brooksville, Vice President of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 99, former School Advisory Council Chairwoman at Moten Elementary School, and founder and first president of the Moten Elementary Parent-Teacher Organization. I tell you this not to be boastful, but to communicate my dedication to our community is not just words. My point is, many people running for office talk about what they will do. I am different because I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. Overall, I bring something unique to this race: classroom experience, policy expertise, and real accountability. I don't just have ideas, I have a record of results. At the core of my campaign platform, I believe our schools need strong academics, safe and orderly classrooms, support for our teachers and staff, and responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars. I love this country and I love our community. My goal is to serve our students, families, and taxpayers with my unique qualifications and experience. Again, my name is Amanda Cunningham Rudd, and I look forward to earning your vote.
Dana, she's going to answer next. So thank you guys so much. That was really informative. We appreciate you all coming tonight. We did have another candidate that was supposed to be here with us tonight. Kara Champion had confirmed, and I received a text from her a couple hours ago that her son was sick and she was unable to attend. So for those that are wondering, that's why we do have one extra seat that you weren't expecting to see. The first question is on the topic of setting policies. And this is something that we have found that comes up a lot in conversations, is people think that one government entity can make a decision on something and it's actually the responsibility of someone else. And so we worked really hard in the questions to make sure that we were asking the right questions to the right group of people. So state and federal governments mandate many school board policies. What is one decision you wish you had the ability to decide as a Hernando County School Board member that is currently not in your power? Wow, I did a terrible job at that. What's something you're not allowed to decide that you wish you could decide? Why do you believe deciding that locally would improve Hernando's schools? And you have 2 minutes to answer that question, and Dana, you're going to go first.
Alrighty, thank you. One
Hold
area.
the mic right up close to your face.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Much better.
One area where I would like to see more local control is in how we use state education dollars. Florida has created many excellent initiatives, but those funds often come with very specific requirements that don't always match the unique needs of our community and are not always fully funded. As someone who has spent more than 20 years in Hernando County schools, I know that the needs of Hernando County students may not be the same as those in Miami, Orlando, or Jacksonville. Our local educators and school leaders are in the best position to identify where additional resources will make the greatest difference. If we had greater flexibility, I would prioritize recruiting and retaining outstanding teachers, expanding career and technical education, strengthening school safety, and investing in programs that directly benefit students in our community. I strongly support accountability, but I also believe the people closest to our students should have a greater voice in deciding how to meet their needs. Local decisions, made responsibly and transparently, often produce the best outcomes because they're based on relationships and first-hand knowledge rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. Again, Dana Pierce, District 1, Hernando County School Board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why do I keep having to follow you with all these claps? Just kidding. Okay, so I qualified for office by petition, meaning that I gained enough signatures to put my name on the ballot. I did not pay to have my name on the ballot. Either way is equally valid, but I spoke to a lot of people, and many people don't realize that the state of Florida mandates much of what happens in our schools. Florida has done a lot right by strengthening parental rights, teaching our shared American history and civics, protecting children from adult social and political issues in the classroom. I believe families should guide their children's personal belief and values, not schools. If I could change one thing, though, I would advocate for more age-appropriate standards and testing at for early ages. We are pushing academics too early, in my opinion. Most kindergartners should learn through play, build social schools, explore and be creative, even have time to rest and recharge. That is not happening with our current standards. I also question the age appropriateness that the state has for progress monitoring state testing, basically for our youngest learners. Progress monitoring or state testing is extremely valuable to teachers and schools because it creates data that we can use to understand how our students are doing. But computer testing 3 times a year for 5 and 6-year-olds doesn't make sense. Many kindergartners can barely use a mouse, and we're asking them to test 3 times a year. We shouldn't create unnecessary stress and anxiety for our youngest learners. My philosophy is let children be children, give kindergarten teachers the flexibilities to teach developmentally appropriate ways, build a strong foundation instead of rushing childhood. We only get one chance to give children a childhood. In our earliest grades, we need to make sure we're not sacrificing developmentally appropriate learning in the name of rigorous testing. Thank you.
I have an answer written down, but I was just sitting here thinking about it, so I'm going to wing this. Busing. I wish we had the authority to control busing. We do not get reimbursed for any student who lives within 2 miles of a school. That's called courtesy busing. We did away with that in 2014 when the budget was bad. We saved $1 million. We were $12 million short that year from what the state had given us, this Hernando County, due to the depletion of the reserves. Also, if you look around, I don't think any 3 people sitting together could fit on one row in a school bus. That should be 2 people. Now, the other factor is, if you look at the school, it says the school bus stops have to be 1.5 miles apart. If they have to be 1.5 miles apart, why do the children living within 2 miles of the school have to walk? Shouldn't that be 1.5 miles also? So the funding for the transportation, I think, is a major issue. If that got corrected, that would solve a lot of the problems we have. It would also solve the problems if courtesy busing was paid for, where the stacking at the schools would go away. Because now you'd have buses that could pick the kids up, the parents wouldn't have to drop them off in Clog Deltona or by Powell Middle School, whatever school you look at, or even in Brooksville. There's schools where the cars are stacked in the street and that would go away. Again, I'm winging this. The answer that I had on this was how long it takes the Department of Education to approve new curriculum. Back in 2015, I was pushing for a 3D educational program, drafting, and engineering programs. It takes 3 years to get a program approved by the Department of Education. That's whacked. That's just too long. That could be improved as well. Thank you.
Hello, Luciano for School Board District 3 again. So if there was one policy that I could decide for Hernando County and not have the state decide for us, it would be that I would like the County of Hernando to decide for themselves whether or not we would like to honor the voucher system. I think that would be a very beneficial thing for at least Hernando County, and maybe the state of Florida to allow every county to decide. So then we could weigh the options of counties that are excelling with the voucher program. Maybe the county is different than ours, but everybody's different. Everybody doesn't fit into the same square box. I think it's important that we have the local power to decide that for ourselves, because it is damaging the public school system here in Hernando. We don't have the money to give raises to teachers. There was a state bill, the budget was, there was a $1.53 billion earmark for potential raises for teachers, and that got denied. The voucher system is taking $4 billion every year from our public school system. So if we can rationalize the idea of taking that and repurposing it to other portions of the public education system, we could be that much further ahead. I think it would be a valuable thing to at least look into. That's one of the policies that I think Hernando County would have an advantage at deciding for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you're going to hand it to Amanda. She's going to go first this next time. This next question is still on setting policies. Current state policy allows children to choose public schools, private schools, charter schools, or homeschooling as state-funded options. This is a three-part question. How have you seen this benefit the public schools you will be overseeing as a board member? Number two, how have you seen it negatively impact the public schools? And what proposals would you support to improve the current policy?
Okay. Hi, again, my name is Amanda Cunningham-Rudd, running for School Board District 5. So at its core, this three-part question addresses school choice and how it impacts public schools. After speaking with many teachers and voters, I've learned this is a hot topic and there are many valid opinions out there. I'll share mine. Parents deserve choices in their children's education. I support parental choice, but school choice policy is primarily determined by the state of Florida, not local school boards. My focus as a school board member will be making our public schools the first choice for families. Declining enrollment will be our biggest challenge in the coming years. Hernando County's population is growing, but public school enrollment is declining. When enrollment declines, funding declines because dollars follow the student. We have to ask why. Why are some families leaving our public schools? While collecting petition signatures over the last year and speaking with voters, I spoke with thousands of voters. One issue I heard over and over was that families remove their children because of three reasons: bullying, classroom disruptions, and a lack of accountability among other parents. Safe and orderly schools matter. Repeated disruptions and chronic absenteeism hurt student achievement, literacy and math outcomes, and teacher retention. The school board needs to support administrators need to support teachers, and teachers should feel empowered to maintain safe, orderly classrooms where learning can take place. School choice and accountability go hand in hand. I support parental choice, but I also support accountability. Any program funded by taxpayers should have extremely strong oversight, transparency, and protection against waste, fraud, and abuse. The state of Florida must improve school choice accountability through strong oversight. The Step Up for Students program is large and should have strong safeguards. Taxpayer dollars should... Oh my goodness, okay. I think you get the gist of it.
Thank you. I believe school choice is extremely helpful in multiple ways. It keeps schools public, charter, and private competitive, creates multiplicity in educational opportunities and offering. It expands the educational horizons for teachers as well as students. School choice also alleviates some of the burdens produced by a vast influx of people, as Hernando County is experiencing now. In many, if not all areas, the state does not mandate standard and uniform standards for public, private, charter, and homeschooling. In most cases, just the end-year tests are required. I believe this is a detriment. Standards should be uniform across all choices of education for all students, and the same qualifications for all the teachers. I strongly believe that the uniform standards for all forms of educational choice programs would alleviate and advocate, for such standards. I would also allow the individual school boards to have the ultimate say for new charters to be created, to have more oversight on the operation of failing existing charters to ensure the education of students is fulfilled properly in the state of Florida. We had a case where a charter school, we only have about 350 students in charter schools currently. There's one being built on the east side of the county that eventually will take 1,200 students, and there's a private high school being built that will take 400 students. The school board, the board on the one charter school changed. And the charter came before us and thought they could just change the name and continue on. Wrong. It had to come before us. We had to approve the new school. It happens to be a good school. It's Gulf Coast. I'm sorry, it was Best Academy. Gulf Coast, by the way, is in the top 7% of the middle schools in the state of Florida. And Best Academy has a new board. They're an A-rated school. Another fine institution that's a charter school in our county. Thank you.
Luciano for School Board District 3. So I think the school choice is imperative that teachers choose the schools that best fit their children. It also does help the school systems, the private, homeschool, public education system to stay competitive. But I also think that it's also imperative that the standards across all of those are all on the same level, that there's a bar level to be met with that. School choice is, there are a lot of charter schools that are coming into the county, and I think that some things, like policies dictated by the state, the board might vote to deny a charter school, and then the Department of Education says that they're actually going to approve it and override the board's decision to deny a charter school. I think that we don't want to overpopulate and have too many charter schools or too many private schools. I'm for strong public schools. I think that we should support the public education system as best we can, and that hopefully that's everyone's first choice, but the school choice is up to the parents ultimately. So, thank you.
Thank you for this question. I support giving parents options. Every family wants what is best for their child, and school choice has given many families opportunities they didn't have before. Competition has also challenged public schools to continue improving and highlighting the excellent programs that we offer. At the same time, there have been real challenges. When students leave, the funding follows them, but many of the costs of operating a public school remain behind. Public schools educate every child who walks through our doors, provide transportation, exceptional student education services, athletics, fine arts, and many other programs that benefit the entire community. Going forward, I believe accountability should follow the funding. Again, going forward, I believe accountability should follow the funding. If a school receives public tax dollars, whether it's a public school, charter school, private school, or even homeschool, it should be comparable standards for academic performance, financial transparency, student safety, and fiscal responsibility. Parents deserve choices, but taxpayers also deserve confidence that every publicly funded school is using those resources wisely and producing positive outcomes for students. As a school board member, my responsibility will always be to ensure Hernando County's public schools remain an outstanding choice for every family. Thank you.
You can pass that up to Mark. He'll be answering first on this next one. The next question is on approving budgets. Free public education has historically been part of the American experiment. Federal, state, and local governments oversee millions in local property tax revenues and allocate money to specific schools and programs. There's been a trend towards taxpayers who don't have children in the school system saying they don't want that they should be exempt from school taxes. This is a two-part question. What is your position, both philosophically and practically, as a potential school board member about exempting people from school taxes if they do not have a child in the system?
Great question. From a practical standpoint, taxpayers must understand the value to them of education of other people's children. For example, cars are largely running by computers requiring a basic or advanced knowledge of computers, which requires education. The medical field, dentistry, even simple budgeting and negotiating simple banking requires education. Education is the taxpayer's insurance that there will be adults to help with their needs in the future. The same thing can be said for vocational education. Reading, math, and knowledge of materials are important for future generations to have to fix such things as leaking faucets and electrical issues. We must explain this to taxpayers so they understand the value of education to them as well as to the students.
Luciano for Hernando County School Board District 3 again. So I think it's an interesting question to contemplate. I think that it's interesting to think about people that are, trying to take back, they are contemplating not wanting to spend their tax dollars on public education, but it is a greater good for us to have well-educated youth in this county. They are eventually going to be the future of this county, so we should remember that. I'd like you to ask yourself, if you don't go to Pine Island, but it was struck by a hurricane, and everybody else would like to enjoy it, but you don't go, should you be offered a rebate? I don't think so. Right? I mean, everybody wants to have Pine Island and the other things that we enjoy about this county, roads, water to our houses, electricity. There's a lot of things that we pay tax on that we take for granted, and I think that public education, even though we don't have any students in the public education system, we still have to have a robust, strong public education system here for Hernando County, and it's important, and everybody benefits from it, right? We have economic growth because of the types of programs that we offer here, the career pathways, and we want to keep that up for generations to come. So investing in our future for the youth that we have here now is so important, and we need to understand that it is a greater good for everybody to have that and to be able to offer that to their children here as well. Public schools are a necessity. Thank you.
Thank you. Dana Pierce, District 1, Hernando County School Board. So I understand why some people ask this question, especially if they no longer have children in school or never had children in the system. But I believe public education benefits every member of our community, not just families with school-aged children. Strong schools help attract businesses, support property values, prepare the future workforce, and contribute to safer, stronger communities. Whether you're a parent, a grandparent, a business owner, or retired, we all benefit when students are well educated and prepared for life. At the same time, I believe taxpayers deserve to know their money is being spent wisely. As a school board member, I will ask tough questions, expect transparency, and make sure every budget decision is focused on improving student outcomes. I don't believe the answer is to reduce support for public education. I believe the answer is to be responsible stewards of the public's investment and earn the trust of our taxpayers every day. Thank you.
Hi, Amanda Cunningham-Rudd. Access to free and fair public education is as an American thing as apple pie. Ronald Reagan said, "Our schools hold the future of America in their hands. They will decide whether the future is enlightened, free, and informed, or shrouded in darkness of ignorance." As a teacher and mother, I couldn't agree more. Should taxpayers without children support public schools? The answer is absolutely. We all pay for things we may not personally use: roads, parks, public safety. Public education is one of the greatest public goods in our country. Everyone has a stake in our schools. Today's students are tomorrow's nurses, teachers, business owners, and community leaders. They will care for our communities and shape our future. There are also economic benefits of a strong public education as well. Strong schools are proven to produce a stronger local economy, higher property values, which I'm sure a lot of you like to hear, a better quality of life, and an educated workforce. This is what I envision for Hernando County. Supporting public education is not simply a responsibility for parents, it's a responsibility for all of us. It isn't just an investment in children, it's an investment in the future of our community, our economy, and our country. Even if you don't have a child in our schools today, you still have a stake in who we're raising, because those children will someday be the nurses who care for you, the businesses that employ us, the first responders who protect us, and the leaders who guide our communities. Investing in public education is ultimately investment in our economic and shared success. Thank you. I made it.
Pass it back to Luciano. Our our next question, first of all, I realized that I forgot to mention why we have all these weird air conditioners around, and I apologize for the extra noise, but we are in the process of adding some little mini split systems and also some insulation, and it didn't happen before today, so we wanted to make sure you weren't roasting to death, so this is our next best option. And if you want to contribute to this project, you can go and buy snacks and drinks. We have water and soft drinks in the kitchen, and our team would love to help you out with that. All right, thank you guys so much. Our next question is on representation. In recent years, some members of the Hernando public have expressed concerns with books in classrooms and in the libraries. The current solution involves having district staff approve every book for every teacher before it goes into a classroom. Some teachers have expressed concerns with how long approval takes and the absence of books in their classrooms. Do you agree with the policy as it stands? If so, why? If not, how would you propose to improve it?
Luciano, Hernando County School Board District 3 candidate. So I do believe that there is a responsibility for the public school system to evaluate the educational value, the curriculum relevance, and age appropriateness of all the reading materials. If we're having an issue with the wait time, I think we need to provide more support to the media specialists, to librarians. I think that a concern that I have is that every library at every school doesn't have a librarian. If we did, we might see some faster turnaround on the reading materials that the education system would like to provide. The reading materials with more in a faster manner. So I think that there is a need for more support. I'd like to see that there's a librarian in every library. Support is imperative to allow for the reading material to move smoothly through the process of being approved through media specialists, librarians, and review committees. So I do agree that there is a responsibility for the district to provide age-appropriate, educationally valuable, and curriculum relevant reading materials for Hernando County Public Schools. Thank you.
Parents absolutely deserve to know what materials are being used in their children's classrooms, and teachers deserve clear expectations about what is appropriate. I support having a review process because it provides consistency and helps ensure materials meet state standards and district policy. However, I also understand the concerns teachers have expressed about how long this approval process takes. If approved resources aren't getting into classrooms in a timely manner, then we need to look at improving the process, not lowering the standards. I would support streamlining the review system by increasing the number of qualified reviewers, settling reasonable timelines for decisions, and using technology to make approved materials easily accessible to teachers across the district. We can protect parents' rights, support our teachers, and provide students with high-quality instructional materials. Those goals don't have to compete with one another.
Hello. So, protecting the innocence of childhood is one of my core beliefs. So I've been following the school book challenges locally for years. Our school district has done an excellent job of being proactive on this issue over the last couple of years. As a mother, I strongly support the intent of the law. Parents' rights and age-appropriate materials matter. I equally believe that access to many forms of print is vital to early literacy and critical thinking skills. Children should be protected from inappropriate adult content and authors sneaking adult content into children's books. I've seen it for myself. It is absolutely out there. Children should be protected. As a teacher, I understand concerns about delays and limited classroom libraries. It affects me as well. Our current process isn't great, and we need a process that is both transparent and efficient. So, potential solutions. Larger pre-approved book or excluded book lists easily accessible to teachers. Another option would be to accept books already vetted by other trusted Florida school districts. Finally, a solution already available in schools with media centers and librarians, teachers may check out pre-approved books from the school media center for classroom use. The bottom line is I believe we must continue to protect parental rights and the innocence of childhood. The innocence of childhood is one of the things that's so important to me, while still supporting teachers and ensuring lots of exposure to books and reading at an early age. Thank you.
A couple of years ago, the state changed how books got into the libraries and how they had to go through a review process between who was on the committees, and they had to read the books, come back, come to a conclusion, and pass it or reject it. We at the district at that time pulled books and did that. What we've been doing is, as the books are approved, we're starting a master list so that those books would be available at that grade level for students across the board, which is one solution to the problem. So once a book is vetted and approved, it doesn't have to be vetted and approved in each classroom. It'll be available. So creating the master list was the second stage of the process, because we had to go through all the books that were in all the classrooms, including the personal libraries of the teachers. So that process, although I have not followed it lately, should be completed at this point, where there is now a master list. Getting a book into the classroom to read will be quicker. We're not talking about textbooks. We're talking about books in a library. We're talking about books that the teachers feel should be brought into a classroom. They all have to be vetted. That is state law. That changed, and that's where part of that delay comes from. Do I agree with it? Maybe, yes. We have to protect the innocence of the children. That's our primary concern. We have to be held at a higher standard. If a book doesn't cut it here, put it in the public library and let them, if a parent wants the child to read it, it's available for them to read. I don't think some material belongs in the school system. But we are working diligently to have a quicker process.
All right, thank you, everybody. All right, we are on question 5. We're getting close to the end, and I'm so happy with the content we're getting. You guys are doing a great job of helping us understand who you are. Most people know Challenger is for gifted students. Central High is renowned for the ROTC, and Chocochatty focuses on the arts. But many don't realize that each school has a special focus. Name one of the other Hernando schools whose programming you especially admire and why you think it improves the education of the students at that school.
So I went at this a little bit differently. I want to talk about one of the programs that I'm especially proud of, which is our teaching academies that are now currently at 3 high schools, Hernando High School, Weeki High School, and Springstead High School. These academies are preparing the next generation of educators by giving students meaningful, hands-on experience, working alongside teachers, and directly with elementary students in our schools. The real-world classroom experience allows them to discover whether teaching is their calling, while developing valuable leadership and instructional skills. Just as importantly, these programs help us build a pipeline of future teachers right here in Hernando County. Our hope is that many of these students will pursue education degrees and return home to teach in our schools. Investing in our own students today is one of the best ways to address tomorrow's teacher shortage, while strengthening the future of public education in our own community. I've always believed that one of the best solutions to Florida's teacher shortage is to grow our own. Our teaching academies are doing exactly that by inspiring talented young people to become educators and hopefully bring them back to Hernando County to serve the next generation of students. Thank you.
Okay, so that's a pretty easy answer for me. I really admire Nature Coast High School. I believe one of our greatest responsibilities as parents, teachers, school board members is preparing students for the future. Every child has a different path. We know college can be a wonderful option for many students, but college is not the best path for every child, and we've seen too many young adults take on significant debt without a clear career path. That's a big problem. I admire this program because this program has options to prepare students for high-demand careers in healthcare, in areas like healthcare and automotive technology. These programs matter because they create clear pathways to employment, which in this economy is more important than ever. These programs don't just benefit students, they benefit the community. Looking ahead, I would like to see more opportunities like this continue to grow in our county. However, these programs can require significant upfront investment. With budget concerns, I suspect this is going to be an issue, but they provide an excellent return on investments for students, employers, and taxpayers. We should aggressively pursue funding options like grants, business partnerships, and creative funding opportunities to expand high-value workforce programs in our county. Overall, I admire Nature Coast because success should not be defined by one pathway. Whether a student chooses college, the military, a skilled trade, or our job is to prepare every child for a successful future. When we invest in career and technical education, we're not just investing in students, we're investing in our future workforce and economic prosperity for all of us. Thank you.
I agree with Dana. Those are excellent programs. They started in 2016, 17 under Dr. Hernando, who planted the mustard seed and they developed from that point. But what I want to talk about is Wekiwachi High School. They have an advanced aiming with computer programs that are magnificent. This is an area that incorporates creative thinking and critical thinking abilities of students to achieve quality computer animation and detailed programs, preparing them for the future in the computer world. These abilities give these students an advantage studying computer engineering and computer programming before they get to college. We all know this will be the way of the future, and these students are being prepared today. Go Wekiwachi.
Luciano for Hernando County School Board District 3. So, I'm going to be honest, Mike stole a little bit of my thunder there. I was going to talk about Wekiwachi High School. I'm kind of split because I went to Hernando High School, but had Wekiwachi High School been around when I was in school, I might have chosen to go there instead. So, my two sons went to Wekiwachi High School, and they have, as Mark said, a very robust digital simulation and gaming program there, where they teach kids how to code and how to do other things that are an advantage to them. So I think that one thing that we can think about in retrospect is that the amount of people in the world that have bachelor's degrees is about 25%. The amount of people that know how to code is 10%. That might have changed a little bit, but most of what we do today is all coding. So to be in that and to know about those programs and coding is an advantage for most. I think that a lot of the kids nowadays are very into technology. And I also think that one thing that is really great about Wekiwachi High School is they just started a fire academy. So I think that that's a really great pathway for kids to find other options for them to pursue. That's not a college-based pathway. There are coding certificates. You go to school to become a tester, a game tester in different facets of the computer technology world. So I do support the Fire Academy and the opportunities that they have in Wekiwachi. Thank you.
All right, we have a lightning round. This is not going to appear again this evening, so you are here for the exclusive lightning round that's going to happen this evening. They get 1 minute to answer this question, and the reason we wanted to do it lightning round is because I think if it gets longer, then they don't really give you an answer. So, Do you think Hernando County teacher pay is competitive and adequate? Why or why not?
Again, being out and receiving petitions by voters, overwhelmingly, I would say 90% of the people I spoke to say teacher pay is not enough. Florida teacher pay is a critical piece of our education system that is mostly determined by the state. I would really love the state to increase teacher pay at a minimum for ESE teachers. ESE is exceptional students. We used to maybe call it special education. Those teachers absolutely deserve to make more. Overall, throughout the state, Florida is not competitive in teacher pay. Regionally, Hernando's pay is generally competitive with Citrus and Sumter. Pasco pays more but has a larger tax base and population. We must keep a close eye on this as a board so we don't lose qualified teachers. We should continue advocating for better teacher pay at the state level, but if we truly want to retain great teachers, we must also improve the conditions in which they work. Compensation matters, but so do support, safety, and respect for the profession. Thank you.
Hi. We fall into the middle of the pay scale in the state of Florida. We're about 35 to 37th out of 67 counties as far as pay goes. I do believe teachers deserve higher pay, as do the non-instructional workers. When I was elected, all the diesel mechanics had left the district due to being underpaid. We have since revised this pay scale and now have retained mechanics for our bus fleet. I do advocate for higher pay as evidenced by leading the charge on holding the share of cost for our health plan at 2001 levels, and the district absorbing the increase annually. Also, to help reduce this cost, we are now looking at a self-insured options while keeping the same coverage in doctors and network. We have estimated a savings of 10 or 15% annually, which we use to increase salaries for all employees, including the teachers. We've got to find creative ways. Our budget is being cut by the state. Last year, we lost money. I can get into that, but I don't have the time. Basically, we got $41 per student more. We have about 25,000 students. That's $1 million, and I'll go on.
Luciano Vignali, Hernando County School Board candidate, District 3. So I do not think that the teacher pay is competitive. Florida ranks number 50 in the United States, so that's kind of a blank indicator. I do believe that we need to address that. Teachers that started teaching, 20, maybe 30 years ago, they started at a much lower rate of pay, but in the salary grade, there was a lot more room for the salary to increase. At this point in time, we're seeing salary grades only raise maybe $5,000 to $10,000. Maybe not even that much. But it's really important that we allow there to be room for growth for teachers that have been in the industry, that are veteran teachers, because we're not seeing that same salary increase for teachers at this day and age. So we should really try to become more competitive with teacher pay. Thank you.
Well, we've made progress, but I don't believe we're where we need to be. If we want to attract and retain outstanding teachers, we have to remain competitive with surrounding districts and recognize the tremendous impact educators have on our students every day. Salary is important, but so is creating an environment where teachers feel respected, supported, and trusted to do their jobs well. Retaining experienced teachers saves money, strengthens schools, and most importantly, benefits students.
All right, I want you to clap if you learned something about somebody today up here that you did not know before. Our goal is informed voters, so we're going to let them have 2 minutes for a closing statement. They can use it if I buzz them and they didn't get to finish. Sorry, Amanda, Mark, anything that you want to finish your sentence, or if you have something that we did not cover, this is your opportunity to do that. This is your last 2 minutes to address this room. And Mr. Johnson, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you. So, we're entering a phase where funding is being drastically cut to public education, and we need to show we are the best option to get the attention of lawmakers in Tallahassee to increase funding rather than cut it. As I said earlier, Hernando County had 150 students less than Tallahassee's projections this past fall, while Pasco, Hillsborough, and Pinellas suffered losses of thousands of students, forcing the closing of schools. We have 29,000 homes on the drawing board ready to be built. Using the current formula from Tallahassee at 0.3 students per living dwelling, that would be roughly 8,700 students. These homes are slated to be built in the next 5 to 10 years. We need to be prepared for such an influx of residents and students. And the east side, as I said, we're expecting roughly 10,000 new homes. And this summer, we're transforming East Side Elementary to K-8 with an emphasis on innovation and leadership. This will make room on the west side of the county for more students from the two major projects already developing along US 19. The issue is how to afford to construct a new school while not burdening taxpayers with another bonding issue. We are still paying for Winding Waters in Weeki-Wachi High School 20 years after being built in 2006. Our repayment is $10 million annually. $10 million comes out of our budget to pay for the bonding that went on. Running the school district is about future needs while keeping an eye on the prize of being an A district. We need to change leadership in C performing schools, support our teachers and our non-instructional staff. My experience and institutional knowledge is valuable to this district, and I respectfully ask for your vote. What I was talking about, if I have enough time earlier, was the state also increased our contribution to the employee retirement fund by 2.5 points. Our payroll is $200 million. That's $10 million, $5 million. So they took away $5 million and they gave us $1 million last year. That's the trend that's going on currently in Tallahassee.
Luciano Vignali, Hernando County School Board candidate, District 3. So I just want to say thank you for the GFWC Women's Club for hosting this candidate forum and for everybody to be here and for listening. So again, my platform, I want to put students first. I want to support our teachers, listen to the teachers, and elevate the education offerings. I think it's really important for everybody to understand that we need to be competitive with teacher wages. We need to continue to innovate, to provide new and exciting pathways for students to stay engaged. I think it's important, going back to the Weeki-Wachi Fire Academy, I think that's a really great academy, something that students I think could be really engaged in. But we need to continue to innovate and design new pathways to keep our students engaged and increase academic achievement. I would bring accountability, respect, transparency, and common sense leadership to the board, and fresh ideas. I think that I'd be honored here to earn your vote. And again, if anybody has any questions after the forum, please find me and ask me your questions. Thank you again for allowing me the time to speak. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you again. My name is Dana Pierce, and a little bit about myself. I've been married for almost 40 years. I have a 26-year-old son who is a product of Hernando County Schools and is now a teacher in South Carolina. Ms. Twyman was his first grade teacher. So tonight you've heard different ideas and perspectives, and I appreciate the opportunity to share mine with all of you tonight. My entire 40-year career has been dedicated to serving students, families, and educators. I've spent more than 20 years working in our Hernando County schools, making difficult decisions, managing budgets, supporting teachers, and celebrating the successes of thousands of students. I have also been blessed to work in other states and in counties, so I bring that added experience to this job as well. Altogether, 40 years in education with time spent at every level, from K to 12 and college. I understand that a school board member's role is to provide thoughtful leadership, exercise fiscal responsibility, and always keep students at the center of every decision. If I'm fortunate enough to earn your vote on August 18th, I promise to be prepared, accessible, and accountable. I'll listen respectfully, ask thoughtful questions, and make decisions based on what's best for all students, not what's easiest or most political. Hernando County has so much to be proud of. Our teachers are dedicated, our students are talented, and our community cares deeply about education. I believe our best days are still ahead, and I would be honored to help lead us there. Thank you for your time, thank you for being engaged, and I respectfully ask for your vote on August 18th. Dana Pierce, District 1, Hernando County School Board. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Amanda Cunningham Rudd one last time. So when you go to vote on August 18th, I'm running for School Board District 5. You'll have 3 choices to choose from. Just remember who showed up tonight, who is here to talk to you, answer your questions after this is over. You've heard a lot of ideas tonight, but I want to leave you with one final thought. I didn't decide to serve our schools and community because I wanted to run for office or even commissioner one day. Service has been a way of life for me for years. I've served our schools as a concerned parent, a volunteer, a school advisory council chair, parent-teacher organization founder, substitute teacher, and now I'm going to my 5th year as a classroom teacher. I've also served in government, earned a master's in public policy. Because of those experiences, I see our school through several lenses: as a mother, a teacher, an educated public policy professional, and an involved parent. I already know what our schools are doing well, and I know where we need to improve. I believe our children deserve safe and orderly schools, strong academics, and teachers who feel supported and empowered to actually teach. I believe in protecting childhood, respecting parents' rights, and being responsible stewards of every taxpayer dollar. Most of all, I believe in Hernando County, and I want our public schools not to be a choice for parents, but the first choice for families. That is my ultimate goal. Many people talk about what they will do. I can point to years of experience actually doing it. Again, my name is Amanda Cunningham Rudd, and if you want a school board member who truly understands both the classroom and the boardroom, I'd be honored to earn your vote. Thank you.
Can we give one collective round to our candidates? We are very blessed to have people up on this stage who, I keep wanting to say dais, we're not on a dais, on this stage who thoughtfully prepared for their answers, and I just want to thank you guys for taking this seriously, and I think it says a lot of good things about our Hernando County candidates, but also about you, the public, because I think they were probably a little bit scared of what would happen if they weren't prepared, right? So thank you guys. The last thing I wanted to mention before we take a little recess and reset for our other candidates is we mentioned our first mayor up here, Lena Hawkins, but I wanted to mention the other pilot that we have for you up here. This was done in honor of Annie Jo Law. She was the first female attorney in Hernando County and one of the first women to pass the bar in the state of Florida. She passed the bar right around 1919, it might have been 1917, don't quote me. But she was one of the first, went to Stetson Law School, and came back here and became the first female county attorney in the state of Florida, but also here in Hernando County. So we have had a long habit in Hernando County of giving women positions where they can serve appropriately and do a good job. And so we just wanted to honor both of these women who were really important to our community and also coincidentally both members of this club. So if my club members will just real quick raise your hands. This is our president, our very new president over here, Beth. But everybody else, let's clap for Beth, but everybody else just raise your hands. So if you have a question about our club, please see anybody who you see whose hands are raised. We are going to reset the stage and come back with our county commissioners and our state reps at 7:30, so that gives us about 15 minutes to get things going. Candidates, I need you up here in like 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
What does that mean? 30 seconds. Oh, that's fine. Yeah. The rain quit. So, it was crazy to see. Because I would have known like, just, you know what I mean? So, in my case,
Say hi. Just wanted to say hi. Good, how are you?
we get ready to go, I just want to let you know that we are live streaming on Facebook, and the last time we checked had about 50 people that were watching, so that's amazing. And then we also will have this up, the full video up on our YouTube channel tomorrow. That's on a different phone, so we had it recorded twice to make sure that we got a good product for you. So that'll be up sometime tomorrow in my spare time. But for now, you can definitely get on and see the live stream as long as Facebook allows that to remain up. So we have two separate positions up here at the moment. We have state representative candidates, and we also have candidates for county commission. And so what we're going to do is we'll ask a state rep question, and then we'll ask a county commission question, and then we'll go back to state rep, bounce it back to that, and such. But I'm so honored to have everybody here with us today. The rules are the same. Be nice. Don't make loud noises from the audience. No swearing from anyone in the room. And we just ask that everybody be respectful of the process that we're having here tonight, and hope that this second round will be as informative as the first round was. So one thing that I wanted to, actually, I'm going to let the candidates introduce themselves first, and then we'll explain the positions.
Well, good evening. My name is Brian Hawkins. I am running for State Rep District 53. How many people here live west of the Veterans Expressway? All right, just doing a sanity check there. So if you live west of the Veterans Expressway, that is the district that I'm running for. If you're east of the Veterans Expressway, your current state representative is Samantha Scott. Okay, so listen, the reason I'm here today is although the majority of the people in the room are not going to be on, I'm not going to be on your ballot in the primary, I would hope that you would talk to your families and friends. So again, my name is Brian Hawkins. I've been married 20 years. I have 3 children, all 3 of which are in Hernando County schools. I served in the U.S. Navy from 2000 to 2004. I'm a veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom, serving on the USS John F. Kennedy. After the Navy, I moved to South Georgia, where my wife is from, and in 2007, we moved here to Hernando County, to Spring Hill, and we've called Spring Hill and Hernando County home since 2007. I grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida, so I'm a Tampa Bay area kid, growing up on the Gulf Coast my entire life. My parents live in Homosassa, so we're ingrained in the community, especially in the Nature Coast. The last 4 years, since 2022, I've been serving as District 2 County Commissioner on the Board of County Commissioners here at the courthouse. Some things that I'm extremely proud of that we got accomplished in those short 4 years. Last year as chairman, we had the largest millage reduction in the state of Florida, which we're very proud of. So we went rollback minus 3%. That's all keeping budget reserves at a healthy level, and our fire department, our first responders, all funded in constitutionals as well. The other thing that I'm very proud of is the fact that we have less than 3% overall debt in the county, which allowed us to look at bonding projects for infrastructure, long-term projects to bring that there. The other thing I was able to do is actually eliminate a lot of wasteful spending. So capital improvement projects are projects that happen throughout the county on a regular basis. And on these capital improvement projects, there was a 20% reserve, regardless if the projects were going on or not. We eliminated that because that was automatically inflating budgets. We've done millage reductions every year that I've been on the board. I'm very, very proud of that. I'm also very proud of our county in regards to hurricane response and emergency cleanup. I've been through 5 storms in the 4 short years, and we got absolutely whacked in 2024. With Helene on our west coast and Milton on our east coast, coordinating with the state of Florida and Commissioner Wilton Simpson, we were able to give a lot of relief to the residents of Ridge Manor that would have taken a lot longer for that to happen. So I'm proud to back the Blue. I'm proud to back our fire department. We've done very, very well. We've got fiscal conservatives on the county commission today, and I know that it's in good shape moving forward. So my name is Brian Hawkins. I'm running for State Rep District 53, and I appreciate your vote August 18th. Thank you.
Good evening. Public service is not about me, it's about you. It's about listening to your concerns, respecting your voice, and making decisions that reflect needs and priorities of the people of Hernando County. I'm Sylvia Nukes, and I'm running for Hernando County Commission District 2. 40 years ago, I first came to Hernando County meet my future in-laws. I actually got married at the Brooksville courthouse, and then later in a little Baptist church across from Frederick's farm. Because my mother-in-law said, until I see you in church, you ain't married. For more than 20 years, Hernando County has been my home. This is where I live, where I work, and through my Rotary Club, volunteer and serve our community in many ways. As a self-employed businesswoman with experience in both the private and public sectors, I understand the importance of responsible budgeting, planning ahead, using resources wisely, and conducting business with competence, accountability, and integrity. Those experiences, together with a degree in business administration, by the way, self-paid, no student loans, enable me to meet the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead for our country with practical, common sense approaches. When I first announced my campaign for County Commission in the summer of 2025, I laid out a clear set of priorities. Stop wasteful spending, keep taxes low, promote smart growth, support law enforcement and first responders, and protect our freedoms and quality of life. Those weren't just talking points. They are the principles my campaign was built on from day one, and they remain the same today. Throughout this campaign, I've stayed true to these priorities because I believe voters deserve to know exactly where their candidates stand. Thank you for being here tonight. My campaign has always been about listening to the people of Hernando County and earning your trust. I welcome your questions, and I hope you'll judge me by the consistency of my principles, the substance of my answers, and my commitment to put the citizens of Hernando County first. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing, Brooksville? Glad to be here at the Brooksville Women's Club. Honored to be here, and this is a beautiful facility, and first time being here, and I'm honored to be here. I'm Jeff Holcomb. I'm running for County Commission District 4. I'm a lifelong conservative, Republican, and a 24-year resident of District 4. I'm a past chairman of the Republican Executive Committee, where I helped Ron DeSantis and President Donald Trump get into office. My education, I have an economics degree, and I have a master's degree in intelligence studies. I have a 20-year career in the Navy Reserves. I retired on March 1st as an intelligence officer, highly decorated. And my work history is a software consultant where I would go to companies, learn how they did their job, so I could create specialized software systems for their systems. I also have spent 8 years on the County Commission as a District 4 County Commissioner, and I've spent 4 years in Tallahassee as your state representative in House District 53. I have been supported by the first responders in the past and in the present. Sheriff Al Nienhuis is a supporter of mine, the firefighters are a supporter of mine, and our law enforcement officers are a supporter of mine. Some of my accomplishments as a county commissioner. We're working on widening County Line Road, which has been a multi-year task, but we've got that on the books and should be worked on here pretty soon. We championed keeping government open during COVID. We worked on the Hernando Beach ramp and improved that. We created a new fire station, District 5, Station 5, and we updated a fire station out in Hernando Beach. We took the Osawa wastewater treatment plant out of commission, and we expanded the wastewater treatment plant at the airport. Now, I know that's not sexy, but it's a big deal to improve your infrastructure in the county. And we expanded infrastructure at the airport to bring new businesses to the airport. I ask for your support once again as a county commissioner in District 4, and I thank you so much.
My name is Diane Greenwell, and I'm running for Hernando County Commissioner, District 2. And I am pledged to not accept PAC money, special interest group money, large corporations, So I'm dependent upon myself and my supporters. And I'm running because I've spent years serving our community as a volunteer, working alongside local organizations to make Hernando County a better place to live. I served on my Property Owners Association board for 4 years, along with my late husband Chuck, and we acted as liaisons between our county government and our association to help keep our community informed of issues affecting property owners' rights. I've attended more than 60 Board of County Commissioner meetings and workshops, planning and zoning, transportation, waterway meetings, and have more insight on how our county government works than the other 4 candidates probably combined. I've attended the past 4 years. I've served on the Congressional Advisory Council, Gus Villaraca. I've been a member of the Hernando County Arts Council as vice chair and outreach coordinator. I founded the Hernando Beach Front Porch Art Walk in Hernando Beach and the Power in Art pole painting to support economic initiatives there. I've always believed that giving back is one of the greatest things and responsibilities that we have. And it's connected me with people all across the county, giving me a first-hand understanding of the issues that they're facing. Professionally, I've managed budgets, contracts, and proposals in the private sector, and their accountability wasn't an option, it was expected. I also worked as a paralegal and managed the research and documentation in the Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement for the state of Kentucky, working with 40 state attorneys general, providing research, analyzing facts, making decisions based on evidence. And these experiences prepared me to be able to carefully evaluate the complex issues that come before a county commission. Throughout this campaign, I focused on 4 priorities: responsible growth, public safety, accountability, and preserving our quality of life. Citizens of Hernando County deserve a commissioner who is accessible and full-time. Decisions will be based on facts, not politics, and no special interest or who my friends are. I will always act with integrity and in the long-term best interest of our community. I'll always, government works best when it remembers that it serves the citizens. I'm asking for your trust because I believe Hernando County deserves thoughtful leadership, careful planning, fiscal responsibility, and a commissioner who will always put the citizens first.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Marvin Batum. I'm running for Hernando County Commission District 4. And I'm a Christian, husband, father, firefighter, and conservative. And this county means the most to me. Over the past 3 years, I've been making the ultimate sacrifice, making lifelong relationship with you to prove that I want the best interest for this county and I want to truly serve. Now, most of you guys know me, you've seen what I'm about, so I don't really need to go much more into the rendition of that. But I want to really address the elephant in the room. So, just out of my pocket, I have these political mailers. And most of you know last cycle I was smeared and attacked thoroughly. But you know what? Character endures. I didn't back down. I did not stop. I kept going because the people of this county was worth it. And I still won't stop. But I want to address one mailer in particular. Back. Well, the one mailer I want to address in particular is this one. It just came out, right? And the address is 1722 Northwest 80th Boulevard, Suite 90, Gainesville, Florida, 32606. That address is the same address of my opponent's campaign treasurer. How ironic. How ironic. And I'm 34 years old, but I'm from the old school. And if you have something to say about a man, you say it to his face. So Jeff, I want to say to your face, I've challenged you to a debate. I will debate you on the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, policy, zoning, planning, any topic that you want to debate, I will crush you. I want to make this campaign about business. I'm dead serious about this county. I'm tired of the games. And August 18th, vote Marvin Batum for real change in this county.
everybody. My name is Maxwell Glenn. I am the youngest candidate in this race. I am 26 years old, and all 26 of those years, I have resided here in Hernando County. This is my home. I love it, and I'm looking forward to preserving it and protecting it. I am a product of our public school system, so I do see some familiar faces out there. I hope you feel like you've done a good job. I've been out there. But in all seriousness, from the public school system, I did go to St. Leo's to receive my bachelor's in business administration. And the last 5 years, I have worked for some of the biggest Medicare distributors that are in the country. So for all the folks on Medicare here, when you get that thick book every year, and you say, I'm gonna throw it out because there's too many rules, I'm the guy you call to figure out what was inside of that. So I was born and raised in a single parent household. My mother did pass when I was 6 years old. And I don't like to bring that up initially to a lot of people because I don't need pity for that. I have an excellent father, and I'm incredibly proud of the way that he raised me. I do think it's important to note in a race where I am a candidate because I have first world experience, a first-hand experience of living life humbly. Right? You have to do that living in a single parent household. And I was incredibly blessed to have a good father, and I was incredibly blessed to, I believe, be a good product of what my father raised. So as far as what I am running for and my biggest concerns that I see in the county, I think a lot of us are concerned in this room is the overdevelopment. You know, we want to make sure that we have local control and we have our local government that's advocating for the preservation of the land that we all love, and we want to make sure that we have the best infrastructure possible. So when I went ahead and said I'm going to run in February, I believe it was actually February the 13th, it was Friday the 13th, funny enough. When I said that I was going to run, my main concerns were overdevelopment, preserving as much land as we possibly can. I want to make sure we have strong infrastructure and strong public safety. I want to make sure that for the seniors in our community, that our police and our fire departments, our EMS departments are able to get to them in a timely manner. I want the roads that we all share, because we're all in one community together, I want to make sure that we can get from one place A to B safely and with the best intentions. So my name is Maxwell Glenn. You will see me, regardless of your voter registration, on your ballot, August the 18th. I'll be right there in the middle. I look forward to getting to know everyone a little bit more this evening, and thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Carroll. I'm also running for Florida State House 53. As Brian mentioned, the district stops at the Veterans of Suncoast Parkway. But at the same time, you know, I've called Hernando County my home for 22 years. I moved down here in 2004. And so I want to fight for all of Hernando County, respecting the boundaries, you know, from Representative Scott, to do my part to help out. So as I mentioned, I moved down here, you know, I was 15 years old. My family, I went to Central High School, and I was part of the ROTC. So I'm quite proud of that because we got #1 in the nation the first year I was there. And it changed my life because it gave me, you know, I wasn't a bad kid, but it gave me the future. I needed the proper mindset and discipline. And so I took that and I joined the U.S. Army and I served in the military police, which to most people is like, okay, I served as a military law enforcement officer. To every veteran in here, I was the guy who had to help bust up the bodies and say, okay, go back to your barracks and get into your outfit. So, sorry about that. But I did that. I served 15 months over in the Middle East, 15 months and 2 birthdays, into Iraq at 18, left at the age of 20. I came back, finished my service up in, I served in Germany and Alaska. Came back, I went to St. Leo as well, graduated in 2016, got my degrees there. And I also continued in law enforcement. And I worked with the Florida Department of Corrections, rose to the rank of sergeant. And during that time, I also used that time when I was going up to Tallahassee and advocating for my officers. You know, I was telling their stories, you know, we deal with big problems with staffing, overtime, you know, all the stress that comes with it, the violent things we have to worry about. And so I was using my time going up there and advocating, and got to meet a lot of legislators and do that. Keep in mind, when I did that, I was using my own vacation time and I was using my own money. I wasn't paid to do it. So that's my background, like as far as my military and law enforcement service, which is really what I'm all about. I want to serve the people. My entire life has been in the public sector, serving the people. On the political side, I've been very lucky as well. I've served on local boards and county boards. I've been very lucky. In 2022, the governor appointed me to the Hernando County Housing Authority, where I've been serving as commissioner, and since the end of 24, been serving as chairman. I serve on one of the state occupational boards for the Florida DBPR as well that the governor appointed me to. I'm on Congressman Gus Bilirakis' Veterans Advisory Committee, and so I'm doing all that, and I'm also right now, I've been going back to college on my GI Bill, using it while I can to get more studies. And I've also been studying a lot in emergency management on top, taking a lot of FEMA courses, working on certifications. So that's a lot about my background. Hernando County is very near and dear to my heart, as well as Pasco, because the district includes Porter, Northwest, Pasco County, so I'm a little biased for that. Hernando's first, Pasco is a very nice close second, so I gotta give them the love. So that's a bit about me. I'm here to answer the questions. I'm here, and afterwards, if you guys got anything, I'm very lucky to be endorsed by Congresswoman Anna Valina Luna, and just reach out to me and any questions you got, let me know. So thank you.
Our first question is going to be for the candidates for the House of Representatives, and I wanted to read what the job description is. Very basic. The Florida House of Representatives, I mean, the explanation is basic, not the job. I'm sorry. That sounded really insulting. It's comprised of 120 members who have their own population of about 180,000 people that they represent. They adopt the state budget annually, which is subsequently approved or reduced by the governor. Hernando County is split, with 2 representatives covering different portions of the county. So the ones that we have tonight are the ones that are representing the west side of the county. So question number 1 for you is in regards to education. Current state policy sends school funding to the school of the student's choice, whether public, private, charter, or homeschool. 2 funding issues arise when the student chooses something other than a public school. A, if the student changes their mind and enrolls back in a public school, the funding stays with the first school. B, the public school is still required to provide educational, testing, mental health services, and some special services and social services, even though they don't have funding for that child. And the public school system is still required to meet the state and federal deadlines on how quickly they must provide services, even if the charter or private school won't allow service providers on campus. How could the legislature improve what appears to be unintended gaps in service? Go first, Tom.
Just a quick double check. How much time for questions?
Oh, this is 2 minutes, I'm sorry.
So I think this is one of those things that was, one of those things that fell through the gap that maybe they thought could happen, but what they didn't think would happen. So like you said, I mean, if a parent takes their kid out of school and wants a homeschool, which they have every right to do, and they get that voucher, and let's say maybe it's not working, maybe it's too much, maybe the school was better, bringing them back in. That is something we're going to have to look at, trying to tackle and see how to fix it. Do we have the parents pay back a portion? Is it on a prorated basis? If they're out for half the semester and come back, do they have to pay back how much the base is on? We're going to have to review that, because all the services that you just mentioned that the schools provide is very much stuff that's needed. It's not something we should look at cutting the amounts. All those services, the health, the mental services, everything is very crucial. I remember going through the school, and I remember when there were times, if having to see like my guidance counselor or talking to the nurses or any of the staff. We need to make sure those fundings are covered. And the hard thing is, I've had to hear this discussion. Is this something that we say, oh well, no, if you took your kid out, you have to wait for the full semester, bring it back in, and that's one thing to look at, but then it causes the hindrance. What if it's realized, hey, okay, this didn't work as we thought. We got to bring the kid back in. Our kid's much better back in public schooling. We can't just tell them you can't bring the kid back until the end of the next semester, this semester, or something like that. So it's something we're going to have to tackle and figure out for the exact details. I think the prorated rate in that case, like bringing them back in, is we're going to have to provide that coverage. And since we gave the money to the parents, we said the homeschool and however bring it back. It's going from charter school back to public school, and that's going to be another one that we're going to have to tackle and review. So.
Thank you. This is a simple, very simple question. First answer. They messed up, right? They messed up because it should reciprocate. Anybody receiving taxpayer funds should be accountable for those funds. They are coming from you, the taxpayer. whether it's charter school, whether it's private school, whether it's public school, whether it's preschool. I don't care. If you're receiving taxpayer funding, you should be accountable for it. So it should reciprocate. If the child decides to leave public school, to go to a charter school, or a public school, or a homeschool, the prorated amount should go to that child to be able to use those funds. And the same should be the exact same if it goes back to public school. And the other thing that needs to be addressed in the room, I love school choice. I think it's done amazing things for our education system, especially breeding competition. The other thing that it has done, and it lacks, is that the public school system, whether they have the funding or not, still are required to provide the services, to provide the testing, to provide all these other things on the dime. So now they're having to pay for it twice. So they're increasing local budgets, which you're paying for. The taxes that are coming from Tallahassee from sales tax and the federal government are subsidizing that by almost 50%, okay? It needs to be tracked. It needs to be accountable. And if there's any money coming from you, the people, to the government and then being sent out to either private institutions, charters, private schools, homeschools, or public schools, there should be an accounting for it, and appropriation should go to the school of that choice.
Yes, you can give that to him. I'm going to read the simple job description for the county commissioners. Hernando County Board of County Commissioners is composed of 5 members who are elected countywide. They operate in legislative, judicial, and executive capacities via majority vote. They establish the budgets, adopt county policies for the unincorporated areas, and manage the county administrator and the county attorney. They also establish long-range plans through their comprehensive plan, future land use plans, and other vision casting documents. So our first question for our commission candidates, and we're going to start with you, Maxwell, is on governing philosophy. Candidates often talk about wanting to be the voice of the people, but if there's anything this political season has shown us, it's that the people have lots of different opinions. It's
So true.
This question has 3 parts, and it's still just 2 minutes. And I apologize, some of them thought they got 2 minutes for each of the 3 parts, but it's, so if they have to cut things a little bit short, you can ask them for their expanded versions. A, who do you consider to be your constituency? B, how do you plan to interact with your constituency? And C, how will you ultimately come to a decision on how to vote when your fan base is deeply divided?
So, who do I consider to be my constituency? If you live in Hernando County, you are part of my constituency. So all 215,000 of the people that call Hernando County home, I have an open door for you. You are welcome any point in time. As far as how I plan to interact with the constituent base, again, open office hours are a very, very easy thing that we can implement as commissioners. Now, it means if you come and say something to me about an upcoming board meeting, can't really factor it into my decision, but I am willing to hear you. And I think open office hours will extend an olive branch to people regardless of their party, regardless of what political affiliation they have, to come say, hey, here's my concern, what can you do about it? What can we do about it together? And as far as the third question was really, how do you come to a decision when people are divided? It's kind of an ethical question, right? It goes into the morality of really what do you do when one person says one and another says something completely different. So the idea in ethics is you do the best for the most amount of people. And I think every decision that you make should be, is it going to benefit your tax dollars, or is it going to benefit you and your quality of life? If neither of those criteria are met, well then, obviously it's not something that we should implement. But as far as when people are divided, the approach should be, will the response benefit the most amount of people? Whether I'm on the short end of the stick of that as a civilian, it does not matter. We need to do what is best for the constituents of Hernando County, and we need to make sure that we have foresight in every decision that we make going into the future.
County from Ridge Manor to Spring Hill, Hernando Beach, Wekiwachi, every single citizen in this county, I'm responsible for representing. Next, I have a simple 3-step plan on how I will interact with the citizens. You can sum it up with 3 E's: engage, educate, and empower. Right? We start with engaging. Our county, the relationship between our county government and the citizen is in disrepair. It's going to take time over the course of years. It's going to take time to really gain the trust back. But I remain steadfast in showing intentional effort in fostering that relationship. The next thing is educate. The government lead gates and the government terms are very intimidating, even for county officials. So I'm going to tirelessly work to learn and be able to disseminate this information back to the citizens and not have them intimidated. And an educated populace is the best populace that you need. So the more informed and educated our citizens are, makes it easier for them to engage and to be joined in any discussion with the citizens. The next thing is empower. Empowerment is the biggest tool we have in our community. Our citizens are filled with many skills, knowledge, and abilities, and I want to give them every single tool they need to be successful, and let's implement some of their ideas into our county forward. And the last thing is, all my decisions will be filtered through the Constitution. It's imperative that we do not violate our citizens' constitutional rights, and also my decisions will be backed by principle, integrity, and honor. Any decision I make will be backed by facts, proven, and making the best decisions for all our county citizens.
Diane Greenwell, Hernando County Commissioner, District 2. I consider my constituency to be all of Hernando County as well, and that doesn't mean by political party, race, or any special interest groups. It's not everyone, not just my supporters. So every citizen who calls this their community, that's who I represent. And the way that I plan to interact with my constituency is to encourage citizens to participate before decisions are made and not after. I think adequate timing to give people the knowledge of what's happening in our county so that they've got that opportunity to be seen and heard, just like the zoning changes, the planning, public inquiry workshops, where you know about a zoning change, you have an opportunity to prepare for that. That's very important. And then I would encourage citizens to get engaged with everyone. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I would encourage the citizens to try to stay engaged with their county government. And as a full-time commissioner, I would be available to work with the citizens, not just as a part-time basis, but I would be full-time. And too often people feel like their decisions are overlooked, and they get upset. They come into BOCC meetings and they're irate because they don't feel they're heard. How would I? Next part of the question was, how would I come to a decision on how to vote when the fan base is deeply divided? And there's never going to be a way to present every issue that's right for everybody. So you've got to look at the facts of what you're evaluating, and you've got to take a side on facts, and you can't base it on any more than that. But I would listen to the people, and I would encourage their answers and their support and their solutions. That's very important that we understand their solutions and how they would handle that. Thank you.
And I did give Diane a few extra seconds because of the disruption to her train of thought. And if you would all please check and make sure that your phones are on silent, that would be amazing. Thank you very much.
Jeff Holcomb, District 4. It's a great question. It's very insightful, and it's something that I talk to other elected officials about all the time, so thank you for this question. You know, the answer is 220,000 citizens of Hernando County is the answer. Whether you're talking to City Council, the Board of County Commissioners, or up in Tallahassee, some of those folks doing that, they think they represent the whole county. That's not always true. But their viewpoint is important. But what we're seeing a lot recently, and I certainly know it, is a very toxic environment. And that's not going to help Hernando County improve. It's not going to make Hernando County great. And it's not going to make Hernando County the place that we want to live in, we want to retire in, and we want our kids to grow up in. But I'll tell you, I do have a plan. My plan is that we have a survey that we engage our citizens in periodically, every 4 to 5 years. And it's not a new idea, I'm actually stealing it from someone else, but we engage our citizens in various parts of the government. And we ask them questions about what do you like in the government, what do you don't like, what do you think should be improved, and then we come back to them after a period of time and ask them the same questions. Are your roads improved? Are your intersections improved? How is the water doing? How is your wastewater treatment plants? Are you seeing improvements? And when we do these surveys periodically, we will see the improvements. And if we're not, we'll know the situations where we need to improve as government. Look, I make my decisions based on a Christian, conservative, capitalistic values. I don't have wishy-washy values. These are the values that I used in Tallahassee when we made Florida the free state of Florida and one of the states that people come to each and every day, and it's actually made us the best state in the country. Thank you.
Sylvia Hughes, running for County Commission, District 2. Everything that they said, I say to you. But serving as a commissioner isn't about me, it's about you. And yes, we do elect commissioners countywide, even though we are assigned to districts. But whether you are in Ridgemere, Royal Highlands, South Brooksville, East or West, if anybody has an issue and they would like to discuss it with the commissioner, they are more than welcome to talk to any of us. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me. I'm actually one of those people who actually still answer the phones. If you'd like to meet, I will meet with you. If you would like to have a town hall, I'll be there. If you have a property owners meeting and you want to have a commissioner, I'd be glad to attend. If you have Crime Watch, a club meeting, anything like that, the more opportunity that elected officials have to speak to the citizens, the better it is for understanding and communication. As to making decisions when people are divided, I think as an elected official, it is very difficult to make a decision that makes everybody happy. That is just the nature of the beast, right? So, but I cannot promise that you will agree with every one of my decisions, but I can tell you that I will make every decision based on facts, input from citizens, the law, and what is best for a county. That is called integrity, doing the right thing, even when it's not the easy thing.
We're gonna go back to our state reps, and I'm particularly cranky about this one.
You might need some shirts then.
Yeah, let's go.
And let me just remind the audience, this is a very echoey room, so that's part of why we're asking for everybody to be quiet, because we are trying to get a really good video of this and make sure that we can hear our candidates. So I know it's hard, but if you can just keep your voices down, that would be most appreciated. So this question is on home rule. I just took a bumper sticker off of the back of my car, the magnet, because you couldn't read it anymore, but I've had it on my car for 12 years. That's not the question. That's just a freebie. In the last decade, the state legislature has been regularly presenting bills and sometimes passing them that take power away from local governments and centralize power at the state. What is your philosophy on home rule? Provide at least 4 examples of what kinds of policies you think should be decided locally and what should be decided by the state, and explain your position. And Brian is first.
Thank you. I've lived this the last 4 years, okay? We have so many things coming down from Tallahassee on a regular basis. But one thing that is super important, and it's interesting that the county commission candidates didn't talk about this, is the comprehensive plan. All right, the comprehensive plan that was developed in 1985 for local governments, it's basically their future land use constitution, right? So they go in and they say, hey, over the next 5 or 7 years, these are the areas where residential growth is going to go. This is where industrial growth is going to go. This is where ag and rural needs to be. This is where commercial needs to be. All of those things. The problem is, and it's not just here, it's in every government around the state, is that comp plan amendments are not unanimous votes. You can change a comp plan amendment that is already approved by the state of Florida with a 3-2 vote. One of the things that I'm bringing to Tallahassee is to make a bill to where, just like impact fees, if you want a comp plan amendment, you gotta have a 5-0 vote in Hernando County. Okay? That's what needs to happen. There should be extenuating circumstances where you go outside the comp plan. All right? That's throughout the state. And it's a problem throughout the state. It's been done really well here in Hernando County. And bear with me for a second. There's only been 2 comp plan amendments that have been passed over the last 4 years. One of them was on US 19, that was future land use residential on US 19. That's a commercial, it's called commercial way. It needs to be commercial. It shouldn't have a residential structure in a commercial district on US 19. That is 100% should be a comprehensive plan amendment that you should be able to change. Home rule needs to stay at home. The flow of government runs down to the counties. But the comp plan amendment and making sure that we instill this, if the county passes a comp plan amendment and the state approves it, it should be a majority or 5-0 vote to change any amendments.
So I'm a state and local guy myself as well. And as Brian made the point, everything's supposed to come down. What's the old saying? All politics is local. There are things where the federal government is supposed to be strong at, the state is supposed to be strong and local. Over these years, we've seen so many items where the state has come in, and we've heard about these cases where Miami was doing this, or Orlando was doing this, and so the state's trying to fix it. But they can't pass a bill that's just about Orlando. There has to be something for the whole state. So they're trying to fix that, but it makes it harder. Before I was on the County Housing Authority, I did a year on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I would see some of this stuff in the development. There were things that people would come and voice out against or support this or that, and the point was made that there were times where there was things we were required to vote or advance to the county commission where they could stop it, but we had certain bounds. Now you got in the last couple of years, the legislature has passed bills that put even more restrictions to where it's even harder for the county commission to say no on. There are things now that they're almost required to say yes now because of the way that some of the new laws. Now, there were times when I was on P&Z where we could add this amendment, this consideration, staff recommendations on this, and if the people trying to make the development wouldn't agree to it, then we can vote no on it, and it would go in, and the BOCC with the final say. They're the ones with the stamp on it. But the fact that state is putting more of their thumb on this, we can't have a one-size-fits-all. Imagine if the state came in and just on complete and all development said, this is the thing. Now, it's one thing for safety and standards on how to build and all that, fine, whatever. But if you have certain limitations, they'll say this is how the entire state's going to do it. We're going to have to be building stuff with more standards similar to like Miami when it comes to development and approval, and we don't want that. Miami's a great place. I'm not knocking Miami, but Hernando County's not Miami, and there's a reason for that. And we need to keep it local for that, and we need to tell the state in many ways, hey, the state's great, but this is local, stay out. Yeah.
So the next question is on budgeting. Residents of Florida are loudly expressing concern about the cost of living and local government spending. Has anyone noticed that? This is a two-part question. When it is time for you to pass the budget as a commissioner, how will you decide how to fund each department? And the second part, are you in favor of any MSTUs, which are municipal service taxing units, or MSBUs, which is what's the big benefit, or impact fees to replace funding departments or projects from the general fund? So just to explain real quick so they don't have to do that in their time, you have your tax that comes from your house that you own, your property tax, and you pay it based on the value of your tax. And then you have these different taxing units, MSTUs, MSBUs, different assessments that everybody pays the same thing regardless.
MSBUs are only for the year.
Yes.
Can I say that? Go ahead. So MSBUs are only for benefit to a certain neighborhood. specific space so that so for example, if it's a lighting unit or it's traffic calming devices, it's only for that specific neighborhood, it's not the general tax base.
So if they're paving a street that is only relevant to 5 people, then the 5 people are paying that. These are some of the ways that people are talking about potentially making up for what would happen if the property taxes situation changes. So we just want to know, again, I'll read the questions since I just went on and on and on. When it's time for you to pass the budget as a commissioner, how will you decide how to fund each department? And if you're in favor of any of these breakout ways that we talked about to replace funding departments instead of the general fund, are you in favor of using any of those specialized units? Martin, your question.
So the Hernando County budget is up about 77% since 2020, and it should be only about 26% in factoring in inflation. And I think governments in general have a huge spending problem. It's not necessarily a revenue problem, but a huge spending problem. And what I would do as a commissioner is I think we should start at CPI, which is Consumer Price Index. Start at CPI, which will usually be 3 to 4%, depending on what inflation is, and let's start our budgets there. Have these county governmental departments really examine and have their budget run exactly what they need. I don't want to see any departments coming back at the end of the year giving back refund checks. I gave back 800,000, I gave back several thousand. No, budget properly, because it's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. Let's budget properly from the start so we don't have these creeping inflational budgets. And another thing, with the property tax proposal on the ballot for November, which is going to pass, everybody vote yes, never vote not to tax yourself. With that being on the ballot, MSBUs and MSTUs are not protected under the Safety Homes. So now, if we implement an MSBU or MSTU during this time, your taxes are still going to increase. And be very mindful of taking away one tax to add another tax. I'm not for any tax increases. I want to be very firm about that. And as a result of that, we need to give the citizens, our struggling seniors, the tax relief they need. And as far as impact fees, I think impact fees do need to be examined. I don't have all the information that the county is currently under to give an informed decision, so I won't mention anything specifically, but I will tell you impact fees need to be revisited and examined for the future and tied into how this property tax will affect us.
Starting to feel like Amanda with a loud applause before my turn. Okay, on the budgeting, citizens have a right to be concerned right now, but I've already started taking the budget and dissecting it so that I can tell where the budget is headed for 2027. And it's interesting to see how much is for airport development versus road improvements, things like that. So I'm already working on that to be able to ask the proper questions when the time comes. But I would ask every department to explain its priorities, to justify its requests, and identify its efficiencies, and demonstrate measurable results before approving additional funding. Budgeting shouldn't happen just once a year. Budgets should be monitored throughout the year, at least quarterly, semi-annually, and if it's off track, there's time to correct it before we get $10 million in the hole. So those would be some of the things that I would look at. Part 2 of that, the MSTUs, MSBUs, every funding source has a specific purpose, and I think that each one should be used as intended. I don't support shifting the cost to the taxpayer simply because it's easier than making a difficult budget decision. But I do support impact fees, and that's one of the things I want to go back. I want to increase them to the maximum. It's my understanding that for 10 years they were not increased, and when they were, it was only 70%. And it's time to bring that back up. Pasco County is 24 to 32,000 a house. Ours is barely over 12,000. Where are we? Not done. Okay. I'll support funding tools that are fair, legal, appropriate, and fiscally responsible, but I'll always ask one question first. Is this the best solution for the citizens of Hernando County? And are we protecting the existing taxpayers while ensuring growth pays its fair share?
Thank you, Jeff. Welcome, District 4. Since I left the county 4 years ago, the total budget has gone up 84%. That's $525 million, and the general fund has gone up 38%. That's $70 million in 4 years. We need to prioritize every department, but our first responders are priority one. Then we need to look at our infrastructures, because our Board of County Commissioners are responsible for a lot of things. They're responsible for all the constitutional officers' budgets, and then they're responsible for a whole mess of things after that. But I will tell you, we need to bring technology in to solve our problems. We need to bring AI in to collapse procedures, to collapse positions, and to make our government more efficient.
That's a no.
I tried to raise impact fees before I left, but I was squashed by Commissioner Champion. And I'm open to impact fees increasing. And I'm open to everything but increasing homestead property taxes.
No way.
Follow the rules.
Sylvia Dukes for District 2. So my philosophy is that the budget is a reflection of priorities, right? It is the responsibility of commissioners to ensure that taxpayers' money receives the greatest value for the citizens. So we have to ask some questions. For example, does the department perform a core government function? Is it fulfilling a legal or constitutional requirement? Is there any duplication with another department where we could save money? Are there measurable results achieved? So it's about prioritizing, again, public safety first, infrastructure and roads second, essential county services next, then maintenance of existing assets, and then everything else if revenue is available. You have to make sure that essential services are adequately funded. Every department should also look into their own budget and explain why they still need the money that they are requesting. And we need to look at programs and see if they're still serving the citizens. Maybe they just need to be taken away. As to MSTUs, MSBUs, and impact fees, let me start with impact fees because they are different. I don't think you can fund a department with impact fees. They have minimum fees for new growth-related infrastructure and improvements. Impact fees cannot be used to pave or fix potholes in existing roads, for example. And impact fees depend on growth, so if there's no growth, no impact fees. MSTUs and MSBUs can be appropriate for certain uses. However, I don't think there should be a way to shift normal county operating expenses away from the general fund onto a different section of your tax bill. They should not become a substitute for disciplined budgeting. My approach would be to first look for efficiency and managing existing resources before asking citizens to pay more. That means every expenditure
Back down, John. Okay, so a couple reminders. Everyone, stop what you're doing. Look at your phone and put it on silent, please. Just a minute. Just a second. Put your phone on silent, please. Sylvia, make sure that you hold the mic right up to your face like this. They're having trouble hearing you.
okay.
Last thing, the candidates are on very strict timelines, which they know. So when you disrupt their time, you're taking that away from them and their ability to make their point, whether you like it or not. So please feel free to cheer or boo at the end, but don't interrupt their time. We want to give everybody equal time to say what they want to say, even if we think it's not a good idea. Okay? Go ahead.
So in regards of prioritizing the needs of what Hernando County needs to have in terms of our budget, obviously public safety, it is sincerely number one. I want our seniors to feel safe. I want the kids that go to school here to feel safe. After that, I would definitely want to prioritize a lot of the capital improvement projects that need to happen in terms of our infrastructure. One thing just want to address as well, the airport project is a phenomenal project. It is going to bring future tax dollars into our local economy. So that was spearheaded, I believe, really by the last board when they provided bonding funds for that project. The end goal of that is to bring jobs to Hernando County, as well as more tax dollars to Hernando County that you all don't have to worry about. It is not out of your pocket, it'll be out of the people that use, the companies and people that use our airport. So it's a phenomenal project, and that is what a lot of the budgeting needs for the airport are for. It's for our future, and it's to save money out of your pocket and from your tax dollars. In regards to, am I in favor of MSTUs or MSBUs and impact fees? So no one actually brought up here that MSBUs, they do require a 51% vote in favor of them in that said community. If you want a voice in terms of what projects very local to you want done, MSBUs are a great way of doing it, because you have a direct vote in saying, yes, I want that road paved, or no, I don't really care. So I am in favor of MSBUs. They are citizen initiated as well. So if you are a concerned individual, you can go to our local county government, there's a form online to do so, and you can say, yes, I want this road to get paved. A mailer will get sent out to all your neighbors, and you'll find out whether or not it gets approved or not. But it does require a 51% vote. It's a phenomenal idea that the county has. I'm also for increasing impact fees. I don't have enough time to get into the meat and potatoes on that one, but yes, I do think that we need to increase them gradually, and there's some strategy of paying for some infrastructure needs in the future with impact fees.
All right, so now I do want you to yell something at me. Anybody know the local jargon for what we officially call appropriations? What's the slang for appropriation? Or? Some call ways, yes, okay. So this is gonna get to the heart of how our potential state reps look at appropriations. Now, appropriations have done some things locally that are very close to my heart. For example, we got the $1.5 million for Chinsigat to do the renovation there. That's technically a port project. That was something that was done by the Wilton Simpson. He brought it back to us when he was our senator. So I don't think there is a wrong answer. Some people are gonna like it, some people don't, but I think it's important that we know where the people that are gonna represent us feel about that. So the question is, some legislators ask for all kinds of money for their district. Some don't believe in asking for any, and the rest fall in the middle. What is your philosophy on local appropriations, aka work? And if you will seek them, what will be the types of projects you intend to get funding for? John, you first.
In the discussion with pork, on a side note, I do like bacon, so I'm salty bacon. So here's the thing, like you're saying, there is stuff like with pork politics. I mean, there is stuff that we see that people request, that the local communities will ask for, that does look like a good thing, but is it really needed now? Do we need to be bloating our budget? There are things. I am a big history buff, so the idea you mentioned Chinsigat is something because Hernando's got a lot of rich history. Brooksville as well. I mean, this place predates Florida being a state. So on the historical stuff, I want to look at and try to do so we can maintain as much of our history. There are things that we can look at for appropriations that the county or the city is requesting to try to review and see if it's something that's needed. Other things we need to, rebuild, like when it comes to like conservation of the waterways. Or here's one for me. I love going out and rocking. Which is military for like hiking with a backpack and weightlifting. And I love going out to the Wiki-Watcher Preserve. The Wiki-Watcher Preserve is part of Swift Month, so it's a preserve dictated by the state, handled as well, and governed by a local, and all that. I want to see some stuff like that when it comes to conservation if it's needed. Like, I go working out there and the bathroom is still locked up because it's broken and doesn't get fixed. So where's the funding for that? But at the same time, I don't want to be pushing for politics. Like, are they going to be asking for something that, yeah, it's something that we like. It's like, well, is it something that's detrimental right now? Well, yes, the system is going to be breaking. Or something to do with the pipings, the plumbing, the systems, or the roadways. I know the big thing the county's pushed that the state has provided funding on is County Line Road. It's helping fund to expand that. And I know a lot of people don't like all the growth, but we got to deal with all the traffic on the road expanding like that. That stuff like that, that's a necessity, it's needed, but I'm not going to be pushing to provide appropriations for stuff that could just be seen as wasteful or not really needed. Yeah, maybe it's like nice or whatever, and it could be good. But can we wait a little longer before having to expand our political budget? Because it's taxpayer dollars, we want to be careful.
Okay, so this is another really easy question and something that I've already got a plan for. Right now, we're dealing with unfunded mandates that come down from Tallahassee. Right? We have septic to sewer, we have environmental conservation, all great things, but they're unfunded. They're telling us that we have to do these things, and maybe we don't have the funding for it unless we tax you, the citizens, and raise up millage to be able to get it in the general fund to be able to actually do it. So anything that's an unfunded mandate that comes down from Tallahassee, it's something that we need to look at. And the reason being is that the 6% sales tax that you pay is the entire budget for the state of Florida. There's no other revenue that's coming in, guys. It's 6% no matter what. 6% of all the money that you pay in retail stores and all those things are going to Tallahassee. Guess where it's not going? It's not going back to your pockets, right? When they slash the budget, do you guys get a refund check? No, when you slash the budget, you know where it goes? It goes into reserves, right? So why not get that money back to the citizens if it's unfunded mandates that are going on? When it comes to environmental sensitive lands, 40% of Hernando County will never be built on. That's a huge accomplishment, a lot of which has been with appropriation on preserves. Right now, I'm currently working on a bill with Samantha Scott to buy over 300 acres in Ridge Manor to increase or to help with the flooding situation that happened out there. When I was out there helping the citizens get rid of the floods that were invading their homes. So we are investing, and we need to invest properly because that money's just going to stay there. And guess where it's going to go? It's not going to go to Hernando County. It's going to go to Miami-Dade. It's going to go to Orlando. It's going to go to Jacksonville. It's going to come up with deficits and all the other people that are not fiscal conservatives. So if it's unfunded mandates that come down or environmentally sensitive projects that we need funding for, it's your money. It should come back to you.
All right, our next question for our commissioners is going to start with Diane. So if you can pass that over to Diane, please. This is on the park systems, on what you guys were saying. County residents are expressing concern about the condition of parks, the amenities available, and most recently, the hours of operation of Pine Island. Anybody see that? Do you feel changes are needed in these areas? Why or why not?
Why or why? Diane Greenwell, District 2. Yes, I do feel changes are needed in our park amenities. Our parks are one of our best assets in Hernando County. But Pine Island, by the way, has already been opened up. That was already done, so we've covered that. But before our county continues to grow and build more, we need to make sure our parks are keeping up with that growth and that we start by taking care of what we already have. Deferred maintenance ends up costing more in the long run, so maintaining the parks now is in our best interest before we pursue growing more parks and having more upkeep. We need to be able to fund what we've got. I believe these decisions should also involve the community because the residents are the ones who use the parks, and their input should help shape the future improvements and the priorities. And by planning ahead and maintaining our existing assets and spending the taxpayer dollars wisely, we can preserve the quality of life and that brought all of us here to Hernando County, and we can preserve it for generations to come.
Thank you, Jeff Holcomb, District 4. We addressed Pine Island, and that's been taken care of, I believe. So I want parks to be open as much as possible, dawn to dusk. But I think a lot of the problems that have been pointed out through various social media posts and whatnot is really vandalism and the county's ability to recover from vandalism. So I would like to see that we get more law enforcement out there and we put those people in jail who are vandalizing our parks, because it's probably the same people doing it over and over again, kind of that broken glass theory. As far as the preserve, which is an abandoned mine, my plan was the plan that we've been working on prior to my time at the county commission. And I will say this with the caveat that, we're in a different situation now, but the plan back then was to use the very western edge of the former mine for low intensity recreation. So we're in a different budget situation now, so I would probably not approve of anything that's going forward with that. But low intensity was always the goal there, and that's what Swiftmud would always low intensity recreation is always what they would allow anyway. Because look, if you go out there into what John Drill said about rucking, if you enter from Osawell and it's probably 8-10 months out of the year and you walk from Osawell through the gate, it's 1.25 miles till you get to the outhouse where he was talking about that's probably locked and not open. That's probably your day right there if you walk down that paved road and you're going to probably turn around and come back. So that's a trip in the chore right there. It's a hot blacktop road, sort of a blacktop road anymore, but again, it's in a perfect world we'd get some recreation on the western edge of the preserve, but that's probably not in the plan right now because of budget constraints.
Don't break anything, they make you pay for it. All right, Sylvia Dukes again. About park maintenance, I'm gonna make it short in a nutshell. Maintain and improve what we already have first. Protect our natural resources. And 3, provide reasonable public access without overdevelopment. So, before we are committing to major investments or projects in our parks, I think we also need to look at the long-term effects of maintenance and operations and how we're gonna pay for it in the future. But it's important because we don't wanna build something and then later on it falls into disrepair and it can't be used. Like for instance, what we have at Jenkins, in Linda Patterson Park, and it's been closed for a long time. Pine Island, we have already said it's been reopened, and I'm very happy that it happened very swiftly and that the voices of all the citizens were heard. As to Weeki-Wachee Preserve, I support safe public access and passive recreation such as walking, hiking, wildlife viewing, bird watching, and nature photography. That's pretty much it. I do not support extensive development or commercialization of preserve that will change its character and place adverse effect on its wildlife and ecosystems. Conservation and responsible public access don't have to compete. These are public lands, and we can protect them and still allow residents to enjoy them in ways that are compatible with their purpose. I think that good stewardship means preserving what we have and making sensible improvements where needed without intense recreational development or creating amusement parks. That's it.
Okay, so what do I feel as far as public use of the Weeki-Wachee Preserve? We're on 3. Oh, Pine Island. Oh, so it's, okay. Yeah, I got you. So as far as Pine Island, my answer is relatively the same. There's some teachers in here. Just wave if you're a teacher or a former teacher. Yes. Thank you for being a teacher. Second part, are there students that are bored in the summer that meet Bright Futures hours? I would say so. No, you don't think so? Well, my idea... Yeah, I would like to see more volunteering within the Pine Island area as far as keeping the park at extended hours. I think that there's a lot of ideas that we can spin in terms of getting volunteerism out there to make sure that everything is operating smoothly, especially with all of our parks. Andrew Carnegie was someone that was a very proud capitalist, and he talked quite a bit about philanthropy. Mr. Brian Hawkins on the stage donated $40,000 to Veterans Park, and maybe some of our other parks could have some more philanthropy as well, and maybe we can get some community investment rather than tax dollar investment. So I think we have a very good community of individuals that want to preserve our park system, and they want to make it beautiful for all of our community to enjoy. I think we just need to ask them to participate. And that's what I would like to do is get the youth involved in our community through Bright Futures hours in our park system, whether that's cleaning up, whether that's staffing Pine Island, for instance, and also saying, hey, can we cut some red tape to get private investment in our parks to make them beautiful again? Thank you.
situation. I am tired of our citizens being ambushed. We implement these bad policies or bad ideas and then wait for everyone to go on social media and then recant it. That's tied into directly communicating and being engaged. If you're in tune with what the citizens want, you would not make a rash decision like that. You know, we can't continue to make these decisions. So I think we definitely have to be focused on the citizens. And referring to the vandalism and the trash and all those things, I think as a community leader, I will go on Saturdays and be with the people. Spend the whole Saturday, me and my family, pick up trash, police the areas. Let's develop a culture of taking care of our things versus putting police and doing all this. No, it's just a simple culture problem and a mindset shift that we need to implement. And that way we become more invested into our community and you start to see things improve. And lastly, we continue to do these big park master plans, pay these thousands of dollars bringing in these consultants, and we don't see anything manifest out of it. So let's be very serious, let's be deliberate about our intentions of investing into our parks, come up with a clear plan, let's track it, and then continue to build from there.
So going back to our state reps and still talking about parks though, and if you missed my introduction, one of the things that women's clubs did initially was start Everglades National Park, Everglades Park. They actually ran it for at least 30 years before it went into state hands. So they funded it, made it happen, so that ties into a little bit of what Maxwell was saying too and getting those private partnerships going. But for our state candidates, regarding state parks, do you believe they receive adequate funding? Would you look to add additional state parks or amenities to the existing ones? And I forget which one was first. Who's trying to-
So parks are an important part of my life. I'm a Section 8 kid. I'm a poor kid that grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida, and parks were my babysitter, right? And so I appreciate Mr. Glenn bringing up the fact that I donated to Veterans Memorial to revitalize that. I don't talk about this much. I've never said it really publicly, but I donated my entire VOCC salary annually while I've been on the county commission, and a lot of those are supporting local charities as well as Parks and Recreation and other things that mean a lot to me, the YMCA and those types of things. Mr. Glenn brought up Andrew Carnegie. I would like to, let's give a big round of applause for President Theodore Roosevelt, who was the person that actually started this conservation movement throughout the entire United States. The one thing that the legislator and the Governor DeSantis, don't get a lot of credit for is their environmentally sound policies, right? The Everglades cleanup, the things that are happening to hold Big Sugar and all these other people accountable for the destruction of the Everglades. And so I absolutely support expanding parks. The thing that is important about Florida state parks, though, is and something that Sylvia Dukes just brought up, all state parks should be passive recreation only, right? We don't need golf courses. We don't need all these things that are going on like that was going on before. If there's environmentally sensitive lands that we need to protect and buy, we need to do that, right? We have the ability to do those things, and I think those are important. It's near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I think conservatives and the Republican Party don't get a lot of credit for, is the environment that they're out there protecting on a regular basis.
So I get to say you did steal some of my thunder. You beat me to it as well. So I was going to say the same thing because Teddy Roosevelt, you guys know, went on steroids with dedicated national parks and national parks. And honestly, that's something that's always been one of my thoughts. You know, everybody says like, oh, what would you do if you were like the governor or president, this, that. It's like, as a legislator as well, to be part of that, I want to dedicate at least one new state park or state parks. Because like I said, I love walking through the preserve, or state parks or forests. You know, my Republican club, for example, we adopted one of the dog parks here over in Spring Hill, and we do our quarterly cleanup and do stuff like that. Parks we're talking about, that's a local park, but even still, like at the state level, it is a vital thing. I mean, think about it. Hernando County is part of the nature coast. And then the old moniker that the county has been pushing was the adventure coast. Both of those require the terminology because of the nature we have, whether it's out in Wiki Watch, whether it's out at the preserve, whether it's out in the forest, going to as high as Ocala National Forest, Withlacoochee, all these places. I want to see all that stuff preserved because it's one of the things that makes Florida great. Florida is an outdoor success, you know, and so I want to see that continue on. I'd love to see proper funding that gets to be utilized. But, you know, like Brian said, talking about like the past activities, which is what I do. I love going hiking. Side note, watch out for snakes. You love God. Be careful. But that's the thing. I want to see us take care of the more that's possible. You know, we've been seeing the push for the Florida Wildlife Corridor helping, which is also helping prevent for development and all that kind of stuff as well. I want to see us maintain as much as possible and grow even more. And if I can do my part, then I would love to see dedicate at least one new state park for us. I want to do more, but if I can at least get one of them, that would be a victory for unto itself.
Two questions left for each set of candidates, and we're going to go stay in the parks for one more question. So some of you lumped 3 and 4 together, and that's your right. That's okay. So thank you for catching that, Maxwell. But you can either address it some more or go back and say something else about parks, but I would like you to keep it in the parks family as you answer this question, even if you already feel like you fully answered. Is that correct? You got it? Okay. So question 4 is, what is your ideal plan for public use of the Weeki-Wachee Preserve? And Commissioner Holcomb.
Chip Holcomb, District 4. So I dealt with that earlier. So I will say I want to thank Brian Hawkins for his donation of $40,000. We did get a state appropriation for that. Senator Ngoli and I, and that monument at Veterans Park. If you haven't gone to Veterans Park, you need to go there. That is a Washington, D.C. quality monument that's out at Veterans Park off Spring Hill Drive. It's amazing, and I try and spread the word as much as I can to the veterans out there. In Anderson Stowe Park, so I want to thank the community for contributing to the splash pad and the splash pad in Brooksville for their efforts there. That's an amazing thing for folks with young kids. They can get out there and utilize splash pads in the hot summer heat. Something to do during the summer is utilize the splash pad. So we are doing great things with our park. We have ADA accessibility parks. So if you're not aware of that, we have some great stuff at our parks, and I recommend you look them up and take advantage of them.
So again, I had a lot more notes on Weeki-Wachee, so I'm just going to keep on the Weeki-Wachee Preserve, so I'm just going to continue on that. As I said, I'm a big proponent of passive regulation, and I think the Weeki-Wachee Preserve is actually perfect for that. I just happen to be a nature lover. I love bird watching, and I generally just enjoy a peaceful natural setting. We should also remember that the preserve is not a pristine Florida ecosystem, it's man-made. So, but it still has become a haven for a lot of animals and pets, and just nature in general. So, what I'm for is an easier and safer access for the public. Currently, there are 2 accesses. One is Oshawa, there's a parking lot, and you can park there and drive, you have to drive there. Or the other one is crossing the Coast Guard building on Shoreline, which is absolutely unsafe to cross. It's a very bad intersection. There is construction going on, there is no parking, and it's just not safe for people to get there. There are not even sidewalks to walk on. So I think a safer access with adequate parking, safe trails, no motorized vehicles would be very appropriate to have somewhere in that area, so that residents don't have to use their car to go to Oshawa, because again, that's not good for air quality either. And they may just use their bicycle, or they may just walk, and they can walk right into the preserve instead of having to walk on busy roads.
So, preserve the preserve. Very, very simple. What Weeki-Wachee Preserve is now should just remain. I am not a proponent of doing anything else except having it remain in conservation. Funny enough, when I was doing a little study on the Weeki-Wachee Preserve, SWCMA says it's 11,000 acres, and the Adventure Coast website says it's about 5,000 acres. So I don't know how big it is, but I'd like all of it to remain exactly what it is now, which is full of nature and full of life. There's also black bears there. And when I told a lot of friends from out of state, they say, you guys don't have bears in Florida, it's far too hot. We do have black bears there, so be careful of that. But yeah, as far as the preserve, it needs to remain a preserve. I stand by that 100%. If I ever deviate from that, throw me in the wood chipper. It's going to stay a preserve.
I also believe the preserve should be preserved. Just leave it as it's being intended, used by the citizens. I do not support any development of the preserve. And I think the county put the cart before the horse with investing anything in money and time into the preserve because we have other pressing needs that need to be addressed. So for us to go into any debt service and invest any money into the preserve was short-sighted in my opinion. And I think we need to revisit that and really focus and maintain on the things we need to achieve and the needs, pressing needs of the county.
District 2. I actually worked on the vision plan for Hernando Beach from 2016 to 2018 and put that together, and in that we did show crossings over to the preserve, and that was to help people be able to get over to the lakes without having to do the mile jog before even seeing the water. So I'm very familiar with it. We did not have plans for development in the preserve and vision plan. It was never there, but we had a commissioner that suggested the swim park, and it just kind of took off from there. We did have a boardwalk that was going to substitute as a public safety access along shoreline in place of a sidewalk, and everything that we had suggested, the whole community did a survey on it, and these were their ideas, but everything that we put in there, it was for public safety. The boardwalk was going to act as a mechanism for a sidewalk because the water and floods would wash the sidewalks out. But finding out where we are with the budget and how we may have some other cuts coming from the property tax, I'm against doing anything with the boardwalk or anything. I do think we continue the crossover, but there were never plans to have a swim park or anything in there. And my husband ran for county commissioner in 2018, Charles Greenwell, and that was why he got in the race, because he fought that. Thank you.
As we leave parks, our president, Beth, is gonna do a huge favor for me and run into the kitchen and get one of our park coloring books. And Mary Sheldon, president of the Hernando Historic Museum Association, is waving at you. We are selling these coloring books for $10. They have photos that you can color in of every single park and preserve in Hernando County, including a little check sheet at the beginning that lets you put the day that you visited, what your favorite thing was there, and which are dog friendly. Those are $10, and all $10 goes to Mary to restore a baby painting of our former First Lady, Mamie Jennings. We need $4,700. It's too much money. We need a lot of money, and we've sold a lot of coloring books. I think we gave her a check so far. We've done about $1,000, but we got a long ways to go. So buy coloring books tonight, $10. Money goes to Mary. Let's fix Mamie's picture. Thank you, Beth. You're a great man away. State reps. In April, the Wall Street Journal released research claiming an increase in housing and living expenses is causing young professionals to leave the state more quickly than they are entering it. Do you believe their assertions? Whether or not it is true, would you propose the Florida legislature, what would you prefer that the Florida legislature do to attract and retain young professionals?
So whether or not it's true, that, depends on all the numbers that people are leaving, but the truth is everyone's getting priced out now. Whether it's the gas price right now, whether it's the cost of living, whether it's the housing prices, property insurance, taxes, everybody's feeling this brunt. And so yes, younger people definitely are, because what's the saying that this is supposed to be the first generation that's not going to be as well off as the previous generation. It's getting so expensive about people trying to afford their first home, or to be able to afford to have a family. People are waiting longer and longer when it comes to doing all that. And so it is completely true. Now, whether or not people are leaving Florida or staying put because they love the state, they're having to feel the brunt of it. What can the state do about it? In some areas, people would say about trying to push this industry, that dentistry. I don't want to see too much push on that because I don't want the state to be taking control of a lot of areas like that. But the biggest thing is trying to make it to where it is cheaper for everybody. We're talking about the tax code. We're talking about the property tax money that's on the ballot. We're talking about more things, trying to help work on insurance reform so insurance doesn't cost as much. If we can work it like this, it will make it better for everybody, but then also it will be the same for the young people because if they see their parents doing better, then they'll know that in the long term it'll be better like that as well. We need to see the results that we can do for younger people right now to where it's not so costly, to where people can stay put in Florida, whether they stay in Hernando County or if they move to Citrus or if they move to Orlando, rather than stay in Hernando. But we need to make it to where Florida benefits of that. And it's not just about saving for now, but seeing how it saves for the long term so that people don't feel priced out. Because that's the worst thing. If you feel priced out, you can't stay put, what are you going to do? You're going to leave and look elsewhere. And Florida built because of the fact we were always better and affordable for those cases. And I want to see us get back to that.
Pretty simple. We need to make Florida affordable again. Bottom line, and it starts with the inflationary value of your property values and the the unrealized capital gains that you're paying property tax on. Starts there. Secondly, insurance premiums. Right now, the rate is fine. The rate is actually at an all-time low, but the premium is what the increase is. Because what they're doing is they're requiring you to fund an insurance policy for the actual replacement value of your home, and your replacement value of your home has increased 125% over the last 5 years. Okay, so that's a problem. One of the things that I want to look at from insurance reform, and I've got a plan for this, is if you owe $250,000 on your home, why do you have to have $1 million policy? Right? If you can make the mortgage company whole and you want to take that risk, why not? This is the free state of Florida. Take that risk. All right? It'll plummet insurance. I do it. I do it at my house. We do it when we pay off our homes. Right? We're self-insured. Why can't we ensure that our mortgage rates are covered? If we decide to take that risk, we'll take the risk. If you want to insure up to replacement value, we can do that. Auto insurance is another problem. Right now, if you park a car in a mandatory evacuation zone, you get full insurance. How stupid is that? Right now, when we had our flooding on the West Coast, people were parking their cars on purpose in the coast so that the insurance companies would have to pay for their vehicle and pay it off. Yeah. That should be illegal, and you should go to jail for that. All right, so there's simple things that we can do. We have fiscal conservative policies. Let's go after insurance. Let's go after affordability. Let's make Florida affordable again.
This is our last question for the county commission candidates, and it's also really long. I don't know what I was thinking. Here we go. Okay. No, 2 minutes. Yes. So pick your favorite part. This is kind of a rapid fire thing. Okay. Planning and zoning topics have been at the forefront of many contentious local debates. Commissioners often say they don't have a choice in how they vote on rezoning because the board before them took away their right to say no to rezoning. There are 3 parts for candidates to answer. Number 1, do you agree with that interpretation of the law, that they don't have a choice? B, explain why or why not using real-life examples from Hernando or other Florida counties. Oh, that's funny. I said there's 3 parts and then 4 parts. None of you even called me on that.
I trusted the guidance.
Oh, thank you. 3, how would you want work to make sure that you maintain your right to each vote to say yes or no as you wish? And number 4, how do we avoid growth beyond the capacity of service and infrastructure? What do you propose as a remedy for development proposals that are beyond available utility and water services? So they could write a book or they could answer in 2 minutes. And think that. So repeat.
All right, so we are deep. So I guess I have 2 minutes for all notify existing infrastructure. All of these should be considerations for making the decisions that are consistent with the comprehensive plan, supported by facts and fair for property owners. Explain why or the example. So this is not really an example of an approval, but it's an example of maybe a denial. There was a commercial rezoning from PDP to C1, C2 on Pinehurst, and it was originally approved by staffing. It was approved by P&Z with additional revisions. The board heard it. They actually let the developer go ahead and make those revisions, and then they denied the project. So now that is it's in the court. I'm running out of time, and it hasn't been resolved yet. How would I maintain my right to vote yes or no? Decisions will have to be made on factual and substantial evidence. Following the comp plan and land use regulations consistently, protection of property rights of the applicant and the neighboring property owners. And how do we avoid growth beyond the capacity? If the infrastructure isn't available, then the development should either wait until capacity exists, or the developer should provide the necessary improvement.
Great.
That's good.
It is a book. You have 4 questions in 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And you're up.
Okay. So I also have a book on this, and I will talk your ear off about a comprehensive plan and our future land use map. So I do want to focus a little bit on how do we avoid growth beyond the capacity of services and infrastructure. This is a very good question to have 2 state reps on the platform for, because what I would like to see is when a master plan is not acted upon, I believe that vested rights should no longer exist. Because your master plan existed in a time frame in which it may have been appropriate. It no longer exists anymore. So I would like maybe our state reps, one of you two, that is something I would like to see looked at the state level. Another thing, there is a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation, but there's a misunderstanding of bringing back the supermajority vote specifically in Hernando County. Now, it's a good thing maybe for the state of Florida, but I want to focus on Hernando County. A lot of the comp plan amendments that have occurred in Hernando County have actually either been 4-1 or unanimous already, right? So changing a rule doesn't really change much as far as the outcome. What we need to focus on is lining up our comprehensive plan to be less dense. So for instance, single family can range anywhere from 2.5 to 5.4, and you're looking at 22 dwelling units per acre, per gross acre. We need to look at bringing down a lot of the density on our future land use map and our comprehensive plan, so that when these projects come to our desk or the OCC, that they're just not, they're not appealing for developers to even come into the county. So we need to bring down density, and I think our comprehensive plan, our future land use map, we can use them more effectively to bring down density altogether. I've got a lot more on that, but yes, thank you.
So the first thing I will refer to is past boards, and I'll just say doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results is the definition of sanity. So be mindful of past boards. The second thing I refer to, I get a lot of calls, random calls about different citizens who want to talk about different topics. And I got one call, this guy, he had an interesting project right behind his house in Sterling Hills. They were building an apartment complex. And he had a legal and defensible item that would have had this development nullified. So he said, hey Marvin, I have this development, I have this legal defensible thing. He pointed out, we discussed it. I said, yeah, I think you do too. We went and had a private meeting with the planning and zoning person that approved it, the planner. And the planner basically said, I agree with you guys as well. This item was a faulty error that slipped through the planning department, it slipped through the planning and zoning, as well as the VOCC, right? And it was no recourse for this faulty error. And when we asked the planner, like, okay, what are our options now? He said, there's no option. It's up to the developer to go back and honor it, but they contacted the developer and they were not willing to honor it. So that one costly mistake had this guy moved. His property was now affected. They had, it was basically a 35-foot apartment buildings erected in his backyard. He couldn't even build a privacy fence that tall, with a 5-foot setback between his backyard and his apartment complex. So I think it's extremely important for each and every application to be very, very stringently examined and go through and find all these legal and defensible items that we can have nullified or corrected.
Greenwell, District 2. I don't think that it's all that simple. Florida law establishes property rights and legal standards that we have to abide by. But what I'm seeing happen repeatedly, we can't prevent people from selling their agricultural land, but what happens is it gets sold to a developer, and the developer, the first thing he does is come in and ask for zoning changes. And there we go with the high density and all of the other problems that follow. And so I think that we need to go back to the absolutely right about the supermajority vote, because when I look back, we had 5 commissioners voting unanimously. So that part of it he's right about, but I think the other part of it is that our commission has just determined that they can bypass a setback of 5 foot or 7 foot. And those are the things that they are letting go through that should not be happening. We have the opportunity to say no, and we can follow that, but we've got to have commissioners that don't have a special interest, and we need a more diversified commissioner. We really the comprehensive plan, it's supposed to be supported by the people and their ideas of what they want the future land use to be. We're not getting that input. When we did the vision plan for Hernando Beach, it was supposed to be put into the comp plan, and that was when Patricia McNeese was there. She assured us it was all in there, we were covered, we were going to be protected. Well, a month later, we called Patricia McNeese, no longer there, and it didn't get put in. So those are the kinds of things that have happened, and we've got to stop that. We've got to be able to take back as citizens, we've got to take it back again, make the comprehensive plan our plan as citizens.
Jeff Holcomb, District 4. So, for these rezonings, BOCC members must vote based on the evidence presented to them and not their feelings. Legal consequences happen if commissioners vote to deny petition as they wish. Without a solid, legally sound evidentiary basis, the county will be sued and a circuit court will likely overturn their decisions. Now, to your question about changing things, that's going to have to happen in Tallahassee. And I will tell you, as someone who's been to Tallahassee, that there is not a mindset to do that in Tallahassee. Their mindset is to take away home rule as much as possible, and it's a reason why I don't want to be in Tallahassee anymore. Because I've seen too many times where they're taking away home rule, and I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? This is not in the best interest of Hernando County, Pasco County, but we have 67 different ways of doing things, and we have 67 different ways that counties are run. Some counties are run really well. Other counties are run really poorly. And I'll tell you, there is an old timer that used to sit on the Board of County Commissioners, Dukes, and he used to tell me, good guy, he used to tell me that when he was working in Spring Hill, I think he on a bulldozer or something like that, he used to tell me that folks in Brooksville, they didn't want Spring Hill to be built. And I'll tell you, I believed him. I don't think he was lying to me. But I will tell you that we saw that time and time again on the Hernando County Commission. And I get it. To Diane's point, when I see a farmland get sold, and then the Hernando County Commissioners are referees from that point on. We didn't want that farmland to be sold. We didn't ask for it to be sold. But now we're referees, and our hands are tied from legal precedent, from Tallahassee, from other things. And so we get made the bad guys in a lot of those situations. It is a tough situation to be in for the county and as a county commissioner. because we want growth. We want smart growth, and that's what we need. We need smart growth to help our infrastructure.
Yeah, right. Smart growth. You saw it.
Thank you. I didn't think I was going to get to use my gavel tonight. And I didn't break Brian's vote. All right, thanks. All right, our last question is for our state reps, and it actually follows up on exactly what the first question was, which is, what do you propose as a remedy for development proposals that are beyond available utility and water services? What if there's no water?
Well, this is an easy question because it's illegal. It's currently illegal. You cannot have a development go in if it doesn't have the utilities available. It's illegal. Very easy. It's illegal. The developer is responsible for putting those utilities in those particular developments. SWIFMUD is the governing body of water, not the Board of County Commissioners, not the state government. It's actually a state, non-government agency or an NGO organization that is developed. And the reason that it was developed is because of the Tampa Bay water wars back in the 80s. You guys remember that? Anybody here for that? Right? Pasco was basically putting wells in Pinellas County and stealing the water from Pinellas County, or vice versa. It was one of the two that were doing that. So they had to come up with regional plans for water, okay? So SWIFMUD governs water, not the county commission and not the state legislature. You want to combat growth? I'll tell you exactly how you do it, right? You require all 1099 employees, 25 and under, I don't care if you have one employee in your company, subcontractors, you have to be E-Verified. You have to be E-Verified. You have to be legal to be able to work in the state of Florida or the United States. You'll get rid of all the subcontractors. There won't be subcontractors to be able to build houses. All right, because this is it'll work. Bernie Jackson, Tampa, brought an amendment, or excuse me, a bill forward last session to do this. We need to reinstitutionalize that. Why are we giving Florida jobs to illegal immigrants? It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't scale. I can't do it in my business. Why can they do it? Because it's the Wild West with residential development, and it's not our local builders. Our local builders have people that work for them. They're W-2 employees. They're paying payroll taxes, and these subcontractors with the large developments like Metro and all these other ones, and I've had conversations with them. They want to donate to my campaign. Listen, that's fine. You give your money, but I'm going to make sure that all your employees are legally able to work in the state of Florida, and that'll stop growth.
Now. That you approved.
On the side of that, what you I completely agree with. Back in the whole thing with the water, here's the key thing, think about this. We had to go through a drought recently. And then, we've been getting rain a lot lately, but also still have to worry about some areas with water restrictions. And then you got companies trying to come and develop, you can call it development a little bit, sorry. Because what is it? We have to worry about data centers trying to come in, and they have to utilize a lot of water. So how can we approve it? Now, thank God the county has a moratorium right now, but of course they're gonna try to come back as soon as the moratorium is up. And we gotta worry about all that. We can't push for development if we have all this kind of stuff we got these limitations and restrictions as being mentioned. How can you approve of these things? Quick side thing, here's a comparison. When I remember being on planning and zoning, we had to deal with any kind of reviews for any developments going on. It was like, how many people? Was it like 2.4, 2.5 people per dwelling? Okay, how many kids? We had to have a liaison from the school board because they had to figure out if they could handle the weight, if they could handle the extra people. The same thing goes with this with our natural resources. Again, Florida, Hernando County is the nature coast. We have our own resources and everything. And if we have all this development coming in, then if we don't have the resources to provide it, not to mention taking away from everybody else, we can't afford to have this stuff. Now let's talk about a local thing, but the state thing is that if local governments are trying to prevent this stuff, and people want to sue and try to take them to court or something like that, the legislature can at least try to come in and help strengthen the laws that helps back up the local government so they have this ability to do it. Because again, politics is supposed to be local, so like Jeff made the point, like Brian made the point, politics should be back to the local government and home rules should be the key about it, and the state legislature needs to do what we can to help re-strengthen. Maybe they don't want to allow it, but I can tell you this, my vote's going to be for home rule and let the local government fight and say, no, we have these limited on resources right now, you're not getting this.
All right, so we're down to the closing statements, which are 2 minutes, and I forgot to give these to the school board people, so I'm going to have to track them down, but I do have these fancy little American 250 pins for all of you. Please pass those down there. And and you can stick it on right now.
Did you bring enough for everybody in class?
No. No, you guys did the hard work of doing all the homework and being prepared and showing up and giving really intelligent answers, even intelligent answers that I don't agree with. I appreciate the work that you guys have put into it, right? We can be intelligent people and have disagreements about things, and I appreciate that very much, and I thank you all for running. I know it is very difficult for both you and your families, and whether or not it's somebody that you plan to vote for, just understand the amount of time and energy that goes into that process. And so thank you for hearing from them. Thank you for considering them. Thank you for being an educated voter. That makes my heart happy. It's my happiest time of the year when we have elections. So you're each going to get 2 minutes to either say something you didn't get to say because I cut you off with my buzzer, or that you want to make sure that you talk about before we go. And we'll just start this way and run that way. So John, you go first.
Thank you for that, man. Again, I want to thank you guys all for being out here. You know, my plan again is to try to push and represent for the entirety of the county with respect to the boundaries. You know, why is it that the position is called a representative? Because we're supposed to represent the people and bring the voices to you. So I want to bring the voices of the people and push what Hernando and Northwest Pasco, what they want to say in the legislature. Everything that the legislature votes on, yes, it affects the entire state, from Pensacola through Hernando, through Pinellas, all the way down to Key West. But we got to make sure that whatever the vote is what the district wants, what Hernando County wants, what Northwest Pasco wants, and so on and so forth. So I promise that is my goal, and that's what I'm going to be doing, is voting how the people want of the area and the district. I've been saying this since I started. My rule of three, my 3 pillars for my campaign have been affordability, red tape, and public safety. The affordability part is helping push to continue all the tax cuts we have seen that's happened over these last 6 months years, plus doing even more to help lighten the burden. On top of that, it goes with the insurance reform. As a lot of stuff that's been pointed out today, we need to help lighten that burden to where all our insurance, homeowners insurance, property insurance, anything you can think of, we need to lighten that burden so people aren't getting priced out. The red tape, 3 parts of that, helping reduce red tape on individuals, on businesses, and local government, as we've been harping on this. We need to be able to reduce a lot of this to where you as an individual are able to do a lot more. As a business, you don't have to deal with all these extra boundaries and limitations and restrictions and problems. And again, back to the local government, whether it is the Hernando County Commission, the Hernando County School Board, or the Brooksville City Council, to allow them to have more ability to do so. And finally, with public safety, I have a military and law enforcement background. I study emergency management, support with the fire, EMS, all the first responders, everything. We need to keep pushing that. We've been dealing with record wildfires in this state for the last year or so, and we need to be able to equip and outfit our wildland firefighters and more to be able to combat this. And with all the training on my background, I want to bring that to the forefront. So thank you again.
So I also want to thank every single one of you for your time. I think you guys maybe had the harder job. This is a lot to listen to, a lot to take in. So, give yourselves a pat on the back for that for sure. I want to keep this incredibly simple. I am a conservationist. I am a conservative. I am a Christian. I very much love Hernando County, and I want to serve each and every single one of you. And I would just like a nod, thumbs up, whatever it might be. Have you ever thought the younger generation needs to go ahead and step up and serve our government more? Well, I'm right here. My name is Matt Sparkland. I'd like to vote on August 18th. Thank you.
You got it, Matt.
So first and foremost, I want to thank all of you who came tonight, and I want to thank the Brooksville Women's Club and Natalie for organizing this awesome forum. But also, let me get a little vulnerable for a second. I've dedicated my mind, my heart, my body, my soul to represent you. And over the past few years, it's been tough. I've been attacked. I've faced nearly every emotion that you can imagine. And in this time, all of you have been the reason. You have gave me the strength to persevere. You have gave me the drive and the motivation and really recalibrated my thought and my thinking on what community really is. And you were here for my family, you were here for me, and this is something I will never, ever, ever forget. One of the best, most gratifying experiences of my life. I'm 34 years old, so it says a lot. And I just want you to know we don't have a chance to get this wrong. We do not have a chance to get this wrong. We got one chance to get this right. And August 18th, tell your friends, tell your family, you see what's been going on the past 4 years in our county. You see what's been going on the past 12 years in our county. And we can't afford to get this wrong. So I love you all, and to people at home, thank you for tuning in and watching. But I'm going to give you guys 110% of my effort. I will fight relentlessly every day. I will sacrifice it all. I will run through a wall for all of you and your families. And if you vote Marvin Bain on August 18th, I will never let you or your families down.
He's an asshole.
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It has been a long evening, but they've done an incredible job of putting this together, and this is one of the few opportunities that everyone has had a chance to come out and hear all the candidates that decided to participate. So thank you for being here. I think that we've got to all unite to fight for our rights in this county. We've got to take it back and be the voice of Hernando County, and we've got to do that through your commissioners that you elect. I won't hold it against the younger generation for wanting to join in. It excites me to see someone young getting back in the race, but I do want to acknowledge that we still need history on that board too, because I've been following it for 10 years, and I know where some of the problems have come from. So I think, again, we need a good, diverse board in order to be able to have that history and have the new effects of the youth coming in, because it's a generation coming up, and we need succession. We definitely need that. And so I'm excited for Maxwell, and regardless of who wins, I think we've got good candidates here, and I just hope and trust that I will be one of those candidates chosen. I appreciate your consideration.
Jeff, welcome District 4. Natalie, I want to give you lots of kudos for what you've done. The questions were very intelligent, very thoughtful, and put on a great event for you and your organization here tonight. Folks, we want to make Hernando County great. We got to do it. The vitriol, it needs to stop. We got to come together and unite around whoever is in our elected offices. It doesn't do any good to tear them down. It makes our county look bad to our neighbors, to our citizens that want to move here. There's a lot of people that want to move to Hernando County, and it doesn't look good when we rip each other apart. I come in here to work for you. I have experience that I can take the office on day one and go in there, and we may have a property tax amendment that's passed in November, and I'll be ready to work on that budget from day one with my experience as 8 years as a county commissioner and 4 years in Tallahassee. I understand the mentality of Tallahassee, and I will go to Tallahassee and work with whoever our representative is in House District 53 and House District 52 and help them get good, smart, intelligent bills and give Hernando County a voice in Tallahassee, because we need that. They need to know that of the 67 counties we have here in Hernando County, we're doing it right here in Hernando County. As Brian Hawkins said, we had the biggest property tax cut in the state. So we're doing it right here. They need to understand that. So we don't need to rip the Band-Aid off for the entire state. When we're doing great things here in Hernando County, I ask for your support so we can keep great things happening in Hernando County. Thank you so much.
You already got it, liar. My property taxes went up.
I'm Sylvia Dukes. Thank you for speaking it out this late. Tonight we've had an opportunity to discuss the issues facing Hernando County and the choices that will shape our future. I'd like to leave you with a simple summary of what I believe. Government should be a responsible steward of your tax dollars. That means funding essential services and public safety first, eliminating wasteful spending and putting the needs of our community ahead of political agendas. At the same time, we must manage growth responsibly, improve infrastructure, protect our natural resources, and preserve the respect and represented by someone who's committed to work for them. I cannot promise that you will agree with every decision I make, but I can promise that every decision will be guided by the facts, the law, input from citizens, and what is best for our community. To me, that is what integrity is. Doing the right thing, even when it's not the easiest thing. If those are the qualities you're looking for in your next county commissioner for District 2, I would be honored to be here on August 18th. Thank you, I'm Sylvia Dukes. Thank you and good night, Hernando County.
How about another round of applause for the Brooksville Women's Club and Natalie Keller? Thank you so much. Questions. I was actually able to pretty much give my entire platform, the bills that I want to run in Tallahassee. I haven't been on this campaign trail but just about a month. I had to resign from the county commission to do it. That's how much I care about this. The thing that I want to say to everybody here and at home, you look at us as a public figure, you forget about our humanity. You forget that we have families, that we have thoughts, we have dreams, we have emotions, we have anxiety. We deal with the same things that you deal with on a daily basis because we live here and it's the same community that we live in. We all love it. And to everybody that's up here, thank you for stepping up to serve. Thank you for stepping up to do it because it takes somewhat of a crazy person to do it sometimes to be able to deal with the things that are going on. Listen, I just want to say that I'm proud to be endorsed by Congressman Gus Bilirakis. I'm proud to be endorsed by Sheriff Al Nienhuis, Chris Nacco, and the great Grady Judd. Americans for Prosperity, the NRA, the list keeps going on. I have a lot of support because I don't need on-the-job training. I'm ready to go fight for District 53 and the entirety of Hernando County, as well as the fingernail that I like to call it in Pasco County and Hudson. But again, I just appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you all for being here tonight. God bless Donald Trump. God bless Governor DeSantis, and God bless the free state of Florida.
Was dishonest in John's question. I don't have those buttons for everyone, but I do have buttons over here for everyone that stayed, but I didn't want to announce it till the end because I'm so proud of you for staying till the end. So we have a little collection of America's 250 buttons, and I would love for you to take that. I have mine from 1976 when I was, however old. But I thought of that as we were talking through the generational things that came up several times. And I'm not going to ask anybody's ages, but I am going to ask that everybody in the room raise their hand when I name your generation, because I think that tonight is a really great example of how all of us can come together to make this country, continue to make this country the great nation that it is. And so I'm guessing baby boomers is going to be oldest, is that right? All right, baby boomers, raise your hand. But there's no question. All right, baby boomers. All right, then Gen X, all 5 of us. Oh, there's really a lot of us in here. That's amazing. Yeah. No, that's amazing. All right, and then our millennials.
I hate that word.
I do think that it's a weird thing. Millennials, sorry, millennials, raise your name. I wasn't paying attention. All right, and then you're a Z.
Gen Z.
You're and
Gen Z, there we go.
They're Z. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. If you are a school board member, Amanda, come back up and get your pin. I didn't leave you out on purpose. If anybody else is still here, come and get that. Thank you again to my club members for pulling all this stuff together, and we will see you again in the fall if there's any general election.